Hey, all. We're going to play that again for one specific reason. Good Lord. I think this volume is low, right? Let's play it again. I don't want to stop in the middle. All right. What's the volume looking like? It's such a catchy little ditty, though. I think it's the backbeat. There's a backbeat to it that doesn't make any sense. Boom, 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 boom. While there's this whole high melody thing playing over it. It's a good ditty. Haps got a good ditty on you. Excuse me. So today was a I was about to say enormously satisfying, and then I realized that's bullshit. Today was a pretty good day. Um, and not because anything happened. For some reason, I woke up in a really good state, in a really good state. I didn't stay away from any news or anything, but at the same time, when I heard all the standard nonsensory, I was like, eh, and I went about my business. It was a really good day. So good that I even treated myself to a crappy meal that's sitting in the kitchen, cooling down. Um, Here's the thing about pandemics: people should respect that they're still open, and they don't. They give you sort of slap together whatever all the time. But that's fine. I get it. As the prices are being raised, which I kind of also get, right? Supply chain issues. Um, yeah, it's Friday, man. It's your weekend. I would hope that you and your weekend have plans. I don't have plans. I never have plans. I'm a planless man. uh, but go out there and do something with your peoples because every time you turn the TV on, some horrible things going on, right? Some horrible disaster, some horrible uh, violence. Oh, no, you did not. You're back. Some horrible violence against some poor, innocent soul. At least that's what we're calling them. Police work has taught me that some people fucking ask for this shit, and then before you know it, they're in over their heads. Ugh, I'll get you the next time. Uh, so this is the thing. It may sound like I'm cruel to people when I talk like this. I'm not trying to be cruel to people, but what I'm trying to you go. What I'm trying to do is be. Ah, dang it! It's like a fruit, a fruit, a fruit, a it's like a fruit fry. A fruit fry. It's like a yeah. So it's a fruit fry. It's a fruit fry, and I'm obsessed with it. So I'm gonna get it without spilling anything. Got it. All right. I'm pretty sure I got it. We're gonna close this whether I got it or not, so I don't obsess over it. See, done closed. Look, see, you got it. I'm the guy, the husband driving across country saying that I'm not lost. Uh, yeah, I think we got it. But here's the thing. You look out, right? I'm in front of a window, so this is all natural light that's hitting me. Uh, and you see the trees, but then you just see this thing jumping in the firmament. You're just kind of like, what the hell is that? Just a tiny little black spot. Then they'll sit there like there's a spot just sitting in the ether. Sitting here going, what the fuck? What? So yeah, one of the great inventions is glass, and then they improved on it by making it a mirror. You ever look up the history of mirrors? How they use it was considered like atomic technology, like nobody wanted anybody else to have it, and people would try and sell it to people and sneak out. They would essentially have stings, and they would kill the artisans who knew how to make it. They had him all sequestered in like a prison. Well, not a prison, but like an island and a castle making art, but you couldn't leave, so it's like a prison. Hello, William. Good to see you. So, yeah, it's really interesting reading. There's a book. I read it twice. His name is not Jeff Goldblum. It's The name of the book was The Explorers. He wrote two of them. I have them both. They're like 25 years old. You can get them for like nickels. But man, you want to know great world stories? I'm sure some people have this too. What is this? It's called. I always have to click this twice, so when I close it, there's always a screen up. Thinking. All right, it's called The Discoverers. Discoverers. The Discoverers. Oh, here it is, The Discoverers. This book is just Daniel Borstein. What do I say? Goldberg? I knew it was a long name. Daniel. A history of man's search to know his world and himself. God, I must have read this book when I was like 24. Then I ran out immediately and bought the other book that he had. And then I went back after 1983. So how old was I in 1983? Actually, no, I must have been younger because I think what's his name gave me this book. I'm in my head for a second. I'm doing the math. I was younger than 20. But yeah, this is just a great book. The Heavenly Empire, The Temptation of the Moon, The Week, Gateway to Science, God and the Astrologers, Part 2, The Sun, Time to Clock Time, Measuring the Dark Hours, The Rise of the Equal Hour, Making. Yeah, it doesn't sound great, but yeah, opening the past, surveying the present. It's good stuff. I wonder why this is here and they won't let me close it. Wait, are they gonna let me read this whole book? It says 93 pages. 100 page, 104. What? Page 144 to 175 are not shown in this preview. Really? You can read that much of a book now? Why are people stupid? Look, here's the thing. Wow. Well, it's still copyright. You can't really read it. Oh, Francis Bacon of Ornament Innovation. The first grand discovery was time, the landscape of experience, only by marking off months and weeks and weeks and years and days and hours and minutes and seconds, would mankind be liberated from the cyclical monotony of nature. The cyclical monotony of nature. The flow of the shadows, sands, and water and time itself translated into the clock staccato, became a useful measure of man's movement across the planet. The discoveries of time and space will become one continuous dimension. Communities of Good Lord, there's a giant. I should take a picture of it. A giant. Oh, what is going on here? Uh, where's my? Let's see if I can get. There you go. This thing. Look at this thing. Can I get the? There you go. Jeez. Another great invention was. Yeah, I'm gonna have to delete that later. It just takes up space. Uh, all right, you've been here long enough. Get out of here. It's funny because that is the second time that's happened. So what I think is going on is the wind blows this way. They sort of get pushed up against buildings or rocks or trees or whatever. Because they're only that big, they can't. I mean, 20-mile-an-hour winds. It was 8-mile-an-hour winds all day today, which is a lot. So I'm assuming for a tiny little bug, right? Don't they want to be holding on to a plant, or they just don't want to be out fluttering? They're lighter than birds. They can't control themselves, and then birds eat them. So I figure, see what happens when you have a weird mind. Anyway, did we finish reading this? The discoveries of time and space would become a continuous dimension. Communities of time would bring the first communities of knowledge, ways to share discoveries, a common frontier on the unknown. I don't even have this up. Good, sweet Jeebus. Why didn't someone tell me I was being rude? All right, so we'll put this up big. So this is the cover of the book. If you're interested, let's make this bigger. This is the one I have. I'm also drawn to this image, which is a famous painting of a guy peeking into the unknown, right? This says he went to the edge of the world, but wow, you get 96 pages of this book. I would read some of it to you, but that would be a personal note to the reader. My hero is man in the discoverer. The world we know views from the lyric west, the vistas of time, the land and the seas, the heavenly bodies and our own bodies, the planets and the animals, history and human society, past and present, had to be opened up for us to for have to be opened for us by countless Columbuses. In the deep recesses of the past, they remain anonymous. Yeah. As we come closer to the present, they emerge into the light of history, a cast of characters varied as human nature. Human nature is not that varied. It's about 13 things. Discoveries become episodes of biographies, unpredictable as a new world. The discoveries are open to us. Yeah, this is a great book. I might actually, yeah, Daniel J. Borson. This is one of the great books that I've read. I guess it caught me young, 1985. I mean, and I would sit and read on the subways. I would read a book that I liked, thought it was good, but I was going to keep it, and I used to smoke. I used to like write something on like the back of a matchbook, right after matchbook was done, and I kept matchbooks as placeholders because you don't really need to buy a book. There's matchbooks everywhere. Just take the the matches out, right? And I would just leave it on the subway with a note like "good book." I don't know if anybody. I'm sure somebody took them, but now I wouldn't do it anymore because I don't think anybody reads. I don't think anybody cares. Right, The Discoverers. Let's look up the other one. What was the name of the other book? Daniel J. Borson. The other one had a. Oh, this is what good old Daniel J looks like. Who died in 2004. What was the other book though? Books. The American Democratic Express. The Discoverer is a history of man's search for the world and himself. The Creators is like the other one. So those are the two that I read: The Discoverers and The Creators. Creators. The Creators. Here it is in green. Where is this at? This is Google Books. Amazon, Wikipedia, The Creator, Goodreads. I may have to Google Books. Let's duplicate this tab. Search for books. What is it? Creators. Huh. Where is The Creators? Did I get it from here? All right. We're gonna keep that. I'm gonna peruse that later. The Creators. All right. So, history of heroes. I don't want to get into fucking The Creators. Wikipedia. Daniel J. Borson. C-SPAN. Oh, it was on C-SPAN. I used to watch. I think we spoke about this yesterday. He's got a lot of them. The Seekers. The Americans. Yeah, I've only read two of them. All right, so let's get a good chunk of what this book is about. Wikipedia. Um, The Creators is a nonfiction work of cultural history by Daniel Boorstin, published in 1992, and there's a second volume in what has become known as the Knowledge Trilogy. It was preceded by The Discoverers and succeeded by The Seekers. I didn't read the last one. The Creators a subtitle, A History of Heroes of the Imagination, is a story of mankind's creativity. It highlights great works of art, music, and literature, but is more than a resuscitation or a list. It is a book of ideas and people behind those ideas. Yeah, I have this book. I'm gonna have to reread this book. Uh, Here's the thing. It's always we're not gonna close that. We're gonna keep those open because I want to peruse it later. Um, it's always good to keep books that you really like. Now all of a sudden I want to run in there and take a bite of something. What do we got? Let's Kamala Harris on The View was a bust. At the show's opening, they said two of the hosts tested positive and had to leave after they cleaned the set. The Secret Service said that she would have to do it remotely from the green room. She did 8 minutes till the show was over. When they were retested, tests were negative. It sounded like they were trying to avoid her. Uh, an 8 minute interview with the Vice President of the United States of America. It just keeps getting worse for the Biden administration. Wow, Kamala Harris on The View was a bust. At the show's opening, they said, "Oh boy, let's flip these. We're gonna put this up again." At this, you should be able to like hold it a little longer or dismiss it early. After they cleaned the set, the Secret Service said she would have to do it remotely from the green room. She did 8 minutes till the show was over. When they were retested, tests were negative. They both had taken the vaccine. Huh. That's interesting. Who? Will. I'm sorry, Will. I'm sorry, William. Who was the two who got sick? It wasn't the two Republicans, was it? I gotta look this up. The View, Kamala. I mean, she's supposed to be fixing the Watch the Moment, Sunny Host, and Anna. So, Watch the Moment, Sunny Hosted, and Anna Navarro are asked to leave The View. Oh my God. Look, man, sometimes you can only laugh at this stuff because I'm telling you, you're going to cry. Am I going to have to move this camera? If I move it over there, I got to work the whole angles. You know what? This weekend, I'm going to work out the angles on this whole new thing. I'm going to put another chair in here and put my other PC in here that I'm supposed to be using to make short films and music, which has been a bust. But I might do that here. But we definitely have to change this camera view. Do I even want to watch it? I don't even want to watch it. Test positive for coronavirus. The View pulled two hosts test positive for coronavirus. The View delays Kamala Harris interview after two hosts 6 hours. Yeah, yeah. So is Sunny Holston's a Democrat, right? And the other lady is is a good lord. The other lady is a Republican. She's a Republican. All right. So yeah. All right, so she let's make this bigger. She is a Republican, and I don't even know if I can run this. All right, The View has thrust into chaos. The View was has thrust. The View was thrust into chaos Friday morning after panelist Sunny Hostin, who is full of shit, and frequent guest co-host. Yeah, that's another thing. Anna Navarro, give her the job already. She's completely unlikable and unfriendly and mean, but you have her on so often, you might as well give her the gig. Man, you know what I hate? I hate giving my phone numbers out to like. So you had to give your phone number out to uh sign up for something, right? Somebody who's not supposed to give your number because I don't give my number out, and and I always know who sold it because it's within 5 days of it. I begin to just get an influx of new bullshit from people that I don't know. Um, Holston 52 and Navarro 49 both tested positive for COVID-19 and were informed of their results while preparing to bring Vice President Kamala Harris on stage for an interview. A producer later told the audience the two women were tested again and were negative. You know, you couldn't. I don't even know. In a clip from the shocking moment. The clip from the shocking moment, they exited while on camera. An off-screen producer asked the two TV presenters to step off for a second. As they leave, a fellow co-host, Joy Bear, says, "Anna and Sonny have to leave, and we'll tell you why in a couple of minutes." For more of Sonny, how many? For more, I've been asked for Sonny and Anna Navarro being asked to leave the View. Said after 65 COVID. That's Liz below. Okay. So shall I introduce the vice president? Bayhar said, then asked the producer, who initially replied yes before switching his answer to no. Don't people have fucking earpieces where you can go, hey, hey? But you know what? They don't. I think they're just yelled at from the guy on the table because their show is chaotic. And you can't be having a conversation while somebody's yelling in your ear. Somebody would have been on camera taking their earpiece out or going, blah, blah, blah. I got so and so in my ear, right? You've got too many people there who like to talk, and I'm a guy who likes to talk. Was she the only Republican? I think Navarro's a Republican. Let's look up Anna Navarro. She's from Florida. She's all right, Anna Navarro. Ana Violeta Navarro Cardenas is a Nicaraguan American political strategist. Political strategist. Okay. Who did you get elected to what? Um, Political strategist. Uh, she appears on various television program and news outlets, CNN, including CNN, comma CNN Espanol. Isn't that still CNN? ABC News and Telemundo. All right. And it says she talks politics. See, nobody wants to be known as political talkers don't want to be known as parties anymore because they just want to be on TV because no one's ever going to elect them to shit. Where's her wiki? Should have came up sooner. All right, we're gonna find out. Uh, Nicaraguan American political strategist commentator. She appears on various things. She's questioned the view. She is a member of the Republican Party. Yeah. Bernard resides in Miami. She's married to a lawyer, of course, and a lobbyist. Fucking she's married to this guy? Yeah. Alberto Remigio Cardenas y Pardo is Cuban. Yeah. The Cubans came here and just set up a political thing in fucking Florida, and no one said anything about it. I've went on about this before. The idea of what you're not supposed to let people do is what they did. If they came here and dispersed and became part of the society, that's one thing. But to come here and set up a power base in a place from another place is not supposed to be allowed. But why? I mean, they did it. I mean, half of Israel lives here. Literally, we can look up their percentages. So some people don't really care what's going on here. Do you see the border thing? Well, you know what? She hates Trump because I think it's financially fine for her to hate Trump. You know what I mean? Um, and there's a lot of Trump haters. Remember, Trump. People are angry with both parties. People in both parties are angry with both parties, as well as people in both parties are angry with the opposition party. So you don't have any leeway with it. I hate you and I hate them. How are you going to talk to me? Right. So now you got this guy who comes in and galvanizes all the people who don't like you. Uh, and he's ruining your sweet con, quite frankly, right? He's not a career politician, right? You didn't expect him to get anywhere near where he got. You ridiculed him all the way until he became a serious threat. Then you started to get all these women to say, not get all these women. You started to like remind people of all these women and all this tax. You started digging up stuff to have to cause some problems, and it still didn't work because he was able to refute what you said with his knowledge of you personally, right? I gave you money. Remember that? He pointed. People are like, oh no, not only is he bad for us, he's off the rails. He's going to ruin this good thing we got. So this is why you've been hearing talk of Trump going to jail, and like they really love his niece or his cousin or whoever she is who talks against him. They really love her, right? They need to keep, if he's in the news, they need to keep him in the news for bad reasons, right? Um, I don't even think they would have tried to let him go and let him go away. And I said this on this stream before. The whole thing is we want to keep talking lawsuit and crime and criminality until the next election, and then they're going to go, don't run again, or we're going to throw you and your kids in jail for X, Y, or Z. If you stay out of this, we'll forget the whole thing. And Trump is not going to do that, because if he wins the whole thing again, and I think he's got a good chance, because I'm telling you, Democrats in the Democratic Party who are not white and rich are not feeling Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and who's the lady? What is that woman? Clyburn, right? Not feeling any of them, and then they have to guilt you into coming to the polls. What did Biden's wife say? Sometimes you have to but you have to hold your nose and fuck you. You want me to hold my nose and do something that benefits you, and it's bad for me? This is why I stayed home on the last one. Um, what is her? What is her name? I can't even remember her name. I don't even know how to look it up. So, yeah, it's. I mean, the environment is goofy, and you can tell this by even as Hillary Clinton shows up and gives you her opinion, it's instantly met with "Go away, shut up, get out of here." So the people that they wanted to hold up to you as a hero and an icon and a bastion of greatness that can come down, no. Yeah, I wonder why. Uh, I wonder why Obama isn't doing more of this. He comes out when he absolutely has to. He came out for Biden, right? When he absolutely, and I think it's because his 8 years there was fuckery, and he's probably like, excuse my language, but fuck these old lawyers, you know, they're all full of shit. But I don't want this undone, and I don't want that. He's only really got two things: the Lilly Ledbetter Act and Obamacare. That's really it. They froze him cold. If you follow politics, you can't tell me what Joe Biden. You can't tell me what Barack Obama did. That's a standout. Meanwhile, Clinton did NAFTA, right? He did welfare reform, right, which fucked up black people. He did criminal reform, right? He did. I mean, he gave all this money to yeah. So I mean, people are sitting here going, yeah, I don't trust you. I don't believe in you guys. The hell with all of you. But what they can do is stop elections in the land of guns. So the con has to be to get you to the polls. Even if only 10 people in America vote, they need six of those 10. Right? And this is what it's all about. So now both parties are always talking and talking war against each other, like no one's listening. This is why you have all this gunplay and all this animus. I don't like this thing on my forehead. Let's see if we can raise it up a tad. So yeah, so remember, we are here every day at 6:30. Well, not every day. We're here 6 days a week at 6:30, Monday through Saturday. We'll be here tomorrow, 6 days a week. Um, and on Sunday we're here at 7:30 a.m. So please, if you're watching, like and subscribe and come on through. Because yeah, we throw rocks. uh, I think we're gonna really change the Saturday show to a guitar show. But I mean, this is how this whole thing started, right? Yeah, I think the Saturday show is gonna, because I'm feeling not guilty, but I'm feeling like I should be getting better, and I slowed up a lot. But then I came out the gate really fast, but that's all right. We fix it as we go. So yeah, I mean, back to the original topic of why this is such a hot mess and a, you know, they're still. I was driving around. They're still counting votes in like places. I mean, that undermines the idea. We didn't hit the timer. That undermines the idea, and we're half hour in. That undermines the idea of one man, one vote, right? Fair elections. And I've said on this show, when has America ever had fucking fair elections? You know, and I talk about the black experience of being carted to the polls at shotgun by these white Klansmen, right? But that happened. You can't say it didn't happen. And now, you know, look, America is in its, I wouldn't say death throes, right? But I think America is a young country, and every now and then, and countries aren't like people, so they don't grow up in 50 years. They may have to grow up in like 200 or 300. Uh, England's been around for 1,000 years, right? Since 990. How old is England? Uh, how old is the? How old is it Britain? No, I don't even know what it's called. How old is Britain? I want to say England. Boy. All right, yeah, let's go to the wicka wicka. We don't want the hold. The hold. Look how tiny it is. Look how tiny it is. And they ruled the world. You know why? They had better technology. That's why. Better technology. Didn't have as many, just like Japan. Japan was a monster during World War. Japan invaded China and beat the fuck out of them for like. This is why they have these issues. Um, but Japan is a tiny little country, and China is huge. That doesn't take place anymore because now everybody's got the same crazy equipment, ethnicity, really. 86.6% white, 7.1% Asian, 3.1% black. Wow, there are more Asians in Europe, in England than black people. Let's look up America, the US. I just want to check and see if all right, we are 13%, but oh, here we go. 61.6% white. Oh, the whites are going to be unhappy in about 20 years. 12.4% black, 10.2%. So we're the second largest group, which makes sense. We've been here longer than anybody. 6.1% Native American. You notice how, what is multiracial? We're the Latino by ethnicity, 83.1 non Hispanic or Latino, 18.7 Latino or Hispanic, 18%. 18%. That's what happens when you walk over the border. But again, like I always said, your problem is we're all different people. You got to put everybody on the same page. We all have to believe the same shit. And that's not happening anymore. Right. And now you're letting people with racial issues come here and be racist. So yeah, it's it's gonna be a hot mess. Topography, the history, prehistory, Roman, medieval period, early modern period. Roman and medieval period. We don't want that. We want when they became a nation. The Romans, and I gotta tell you, British history is fucking really interesting. I mean, the Romans were going in there. They had the picks up in fucking, yeah. It's like it's all this history that I didn't find out till about 20 years ago, right? And you're like, wait, there weren't always just kings and knights and shit. No, no, tribal people. The Romans were balling. Oh, I know who the Romans are. Right? So it sort of ties, like for me anyway, it sort of tied this thing together. 959 in the 10th century, however, all the English kingdoms were unified under one ruler as the Kingdom of England when the last constituent kingdom, Northumbria, submitted to Edgar in 959. Yeah, so 1,000, they've been like the year 959. In 1066, England was conquered by the Normans, who introduced Norman-speaking administrator that was eventually assimilated. Wales came under Anglo-Norman control in 1282 and was officially annexed to England in the 16th century. See, England, this is a picture of England. These were all different places, right? Right? These were all different places. And this place essentially took over the bottom half, then the top half, then over. Well, this is really a bad. I mean, they didn't have a satellite. We'll use the satellite picture. See, even this picture, this shows it, right? This is England, this is Scotland and Ireland, right? But now the United Kingdom is, where is it? Dang it. Well, it's still not here. Hold on. There's one more, right? This is what we think of the United Kingdom as, this whole place. But this place is still kicking up some shit. We're united, motherfucker. No, we're not. Yeah, we're United Kingdom. No, we're not. Yes, we are. Don't make me come over there, Scotland. I will bust your ass again. Right? I mean, remember, when I grew up, there was the IRA. And you know what stopped the IRA? 9/11. 9/11. They were blowing up bars in Ireland. They were shooting it out with the Protestants and the Catholics, and then those savages flew two planes into the World Trade Center, and like within months, they decided to fight politically and lay down their guns. And I was like, wow, but no one ever talks about it. Let's see the IRA, not. We're on a man. We are down rabbit holes here. This is me sober. You should catch me drinking in a pub, shooting pool and playing dice. Not dice. Shooting pool and playing darts. Dice. Shooting pool and playing darts. Yeah. I made your bar interesting. When I balled in it, IRA. Irish. Let's do that. That'll do it. Irish Republican Army. Overview geography. This is your whole. Look how far back they go. Yeah, they wanted freedom for a long time. The Irish Army is a name used by various paramilitary organizations in Ireland throughout the 20th and 21st century. That right there should tell you it's 100 years. Organizations going by this name have been dedicated to hereditism. Hereditism is a political and popular movement whose members claim and seek to occupy territory which they consider lost based on history or legend. The scope of this definition is occasionally subject to terminological disputes. All right. It's like the Indians fighting to get America back. I mean, I get the concept. 1990. All right. 1997. In April 2011, former member of the Provincial IRA announced a resumption of hostilities after, so it was 11 years. The new IRA, but how come it doesn't say when they stopped fighting? It goes from 1997 to 2011. Something happened in 2001 with the IRA. I'm just saying. Really, this is a really shitty article, and I didn't even read it. 1919 to 1922, British Army, 1919. Okay, I'm scanning for dates. In century followed, the army was reorganized. It's reorganized and split. Okay, that's not reorganization. That's just breaking up. 1969, 1922, 1969. 1986, 1997, 2011. The real IRA, 1997 breakaway from the PIRA, consists of members opposed to the Northern Ireland peace process. They were opposed to the peace process. That's always bad. In April 2011, 10 years after 9/11. Yeah, what 1960s, 1969, 2006, 2009, 2011. Yeah, there's no what a leap. The Irish Republican Liberation split from That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. All right, let's get rid of this. Go over here. Look up the IRA. If it wasn't a ceasefire, it wasn't a ceasefire. What do you call it when you lay down your arm? IRA lays down arms. So let's try that. IRA begins to lay down its arms. Independent, March 9, 2014. IRA will lay down its arms. 2005. And say ruling armor. 2001. We're laying down October 23rd, 2001. We're laying down arms. IRA says. Right. So let's look at this one because this is a month after September 11th. October 23rd, 2001. I knew I wasn't fucking crazy. See, this is what happens when you read everything, and then you meet other people who just want you to believe them. You go, "Nah, that's not right," right? You know, no, that is right. Now, trust me. No, I could have sworn I read something that said the exact opposite of that. It's been my experience. People who don't know how to argue will run out of shit to say and get aggressive. At least in my community, get aggressive. I can't talk about Barack Obama with black people. I cannot. They worship him. They like a lot of people worship him, and they don't follow politics as deep as they should. Belfast, Northern Ireland. The Irish Republican Army announced Tuesday, they have begun to disarm for the first time, saying it wants to prevent the collapse of the fragile peace process after months. There was no immediate word on the number of weapons being put out of use or the method. The IRA was implementing a plan accepted by an International Disarmament Commission in August, the details of which were never made public. The announcement came one day after Sinn Féin President Gerry Adams and his deputy Martin McGuinness urged their allies in the IRA to make good on their long-delayed promise to put their weapons beyond use. Our motive is clear. The unprecedented move is to save the peace process and persuade others by genuine. Yet the political process now, I mean, this could have been several things because after that 9/11 thing happened, everybody started rewriting how they were going to deal with people like this, right? So I mean, Britain could have been like, we're not going to have 9/11 with the IRA. They could have used this to just do what they did in the 60s to Ireland, right? Um, and I mean, that's one possibility, but who wants to fight forever? Some people don't have anything else to do but war. And I think that's what's up with the Middle East. There's no trees, there's no grass, there's no streams or lakes, right? Very few anyway. It's hot all the time. All you are aggressive to your neighbor. And on top of that, you have a 5,000 year history, 10,000 year history of bullshit with each other under the name of God. I need I remind you, join my church every Sunday, 7:30 a.m. It's it's not really a church, but that's what we're calling it. So join it. If you're a Muslim, join my mosque. Yeah, exactly. And if you're Jewish, join my synagogue every Sunday, 7:30. Um, and we're not Unitarian. It's exactly what you are. That's what it is. Whatever you are is what it is. All right. So don't get a little too on. Our motivation is clear, right? Do we want to read this? This is exactly 25 years old. Killed in Afghanistan on the way out. Outrageous. Disarmament is an emotional issue for IRA supporters, and Sinn Féin has been cautious about any move because you kill people, right? So you can't do something that everybody doesn't want because then those people will kill you, right? So it's a very dangerous line to walk. Um, and this is what I point out to like my white friends all the time. Everybody picks up guns, and black people haven't. We tried to play within the system for 300 years. You should have some respect for that. Because when shit goes south on you, don't think that you won't be part of that, random nonsense or your kid random nonsense. It behooves everybody to not have like a separate. And like I said, we are 60 million people. You're not going to put us in a tent. You're not going to put us in the desert. We're everywhere, right? So, but once this idea flips over of going, we can't work with this system, that is dangerous. And we talked about yesterday, you can't fix the cops. And the Democrats want people to come up and vote, and now people aren't going to vote. People don't go to church, land of guns. I have concerns. I have giant concerns. I talk real. I don't talk loose. You know what the difference between real real talk and loose talk is? Loose talk is all that. Fuck them niggas, man. I kill all of them. Da-da-da. That's loose talk. That's wild Like even if you're not gonna do that, who says that kind of shit? Like on a microphone to the ether, right? And then people can go, "Why are you listening to him? He is not serious." Did you just hear what he said about the women or the midgets or the trees or the bushes or whatever you said it about? It was a ridiculous thing to say. Here we go. So yeah, they were gonna lay that October 23rd, 2001. And then, then they skipped to 2011. All right, let's close this. So this is yeah. What did we say? 959. So I'm about to say 1059. So 1059 would only be 100 years. So that would be 2059 would be 1,011 years, right? So they how old is this place? Very simple question, internet. How old is Britain? Is Britain's with an S kingdom? Don't get me sidetracked. How is okay? No, that's when did the UK come into existence? May 1st, 1707. That's not right. This is the kind of shit I'm talking about. Sometimes the simplest question you ask gets you. Let's look at the bottom of this. How many? How many? It usually tells you. Where does it tell you? It's not the bottom, is it? Is it at the top? It's at the top. How many recently here it is, I'm sorry. How many you got 27,500,000 results in 0.86 seconds. In 0.86 seconds. So somewhere between this 27,500 million results, I have to find what I'm looking for. And with my luck, it's probably the very last one. The kingdom was roughly the same borders to the origin in the 10th century. Right, the 900s. So what do we in the 20th century? So that's 1,000 years. Let's just call it 1,000 years. My brain hurts on this one. Thank you, England. Um, yeah, let's get these ladies out of here too. And again, buy this book, read it, put it in your collection, read it twice. It's so good. Praise and criticism. The creative was widely praised by both professionals and non-professional readers. Oh, I guess I wasn't the only one who liked it, but had its share of critics. Aren't there always critics? It has been criticized for factual mistakes, poor research. The guy wrote 500 books. Literary ignorance. Oh boy, man, that's just mean. It looks like somebody found the harshest criticism and stuck it in this paragraph. Incorrect conclusions. How can you say his conclusion is his conclusion? That's like, I like apple pie better than cherry pie. Just because I like apples and someone going, your conclusion is all fucked up and wrong. You can't say someone's conclusion is wrong, right? You draw your own conclusion. Why am I stuck on this word? All right, maybe there you maybe have a different definition. Oh my god, I'm crazy on the internet. All right, well, here we go. Conclusion: the end or finish of an event or process. Right, a judgment or decision reached by reasoning. Okay, where's the third one? There's no third one. Deduction, inference. You made an inference, an interpretation. You interpreted reasoning, opinion. It's yeah. How can his yeah? Okay, I'm not wrong. Oh, I was one of those kids who would argue with professors, not professors, teachers in high school, and be sent out. But I was right. I've got to burr up my ass about the American education system because I should have a PhD in several things, quite frankly. And I'm pretty sure you should too. But my philosophy on this is sort of out of sorts. Is America does not want a lot of educated people because in all who aren't, than have to be told what to do by a handful of lawyers, which makes them more money, handful of doctors, which makes them more money. We only get this few people who are educated enough to be elected, and look at the shit show, right? So yeah, there. Hold on, wait. What? I'm sorry. I have to take a second. Something just happened here. What? All right, fine. All right. I'll deal with that later. So yeah, so let's get the praise for a bias toward Western culture. Everything in the West is biased toward Western culture, to the exclusion of other cultures. There's a thousand other cultures. A tendency to overlook the negative. You can only look at something from the culture that you grew up in, right? So I look at, let's say, in Brooklyn, the Hasidim have buses where the women have to ride in the back, the wives. And New York finally was like, no, that ends. They get to ride, sit where they want, right? I mean, and I saw that and I was like, why are we letting that happen in America? You know why? Because I'm an American Western. You don't let your women, yeah, and this may sound sexist, ride the back of the bus while you sit up front. Go to the back of the bus with the kids. Anyway, Bill, not Bill. What was his name? Yehuda. Anyway, Yehuda. Yeah, what were you telling me, Hiram? I was good. No, no, you don't want that. What's the next step? I could beat her in the street because I'm Hasidim and she's my wife. No, we don't do that here. This is another concern of mine. People come here with their old ways and they never step up to the new way of thinking. If we're going to be a jet age, balling country, we might want to step on it. My new favorite obsession, Space Force. Because I'm like, this the first they took all Star Wars off broadcast television, and fuck you, Paramount, for doing that. It inspired all these people 50 years ago to want to be astronauts and scientists, and you take it off TV. It's one of the best things that you can have everybody watch. The only thing you want a million Law and Orders, a million rapes and murders on your TV. I hate them for doing that, right? So Space Force tells me, oh, maybe now the smaller bunch of kids who watch this and then go into the military, maybe they want to be uh like astronauts and stuff because of Star Trek. Where would they go? They wouldn't go into the army. They go into the Air Force. They want to be astronauts. They want to be pilots, right? So this might sort of do the same thing for the Space Force. Everyone's ridiculing it. I cannot wait to get a giant Space Force T-shirt. Uh, oh man, I may just start a fucking Space Force blog. Get on it early, because man, it's gonna. I really do think it may change some things. Because what you want to do is you want to capture the imagination of children, because it will pay off tomorrow, not just your fucking dividends. You know what I'm saying? All right. Uh, Overlook the negative and the lack of attribution. A Harvard professor of history accused Borson of philosophical bias and blatant myth making. He's been called superficial because his works are popular with the general public. Okay, well, writing style and themes. I thought it was a good book. Borsing follows the pattern he established in previous book. Discovers the book is built around the lives of contribute and the lives and the book is built around the lives and contributions of individuals. These vignettes are the anchors of the work and reflect the author's belief that history is molded by men and women of daring and genius rather than ideological movements or academic theories. I agree with this. Fuck your academic theory if no one puts it into practice. So yeah, history is always molded by men and women of daring and genius, even if the idea is a bad idea, like Hitler, right? You can say what you want. He did a wild and daring thing, right? Not even just with all the murders. I'm talking about I'm going to run for office. Or even if he didn't, and he picked up arms to overthrow the government, right? That's still a daring thing. I'm not doing that shit. I'm sitting here at my computer, right? So yeah, you have to be daring, but your ideological matter. Your fucking, yeah, what you believe matter. The daring thing isn't always good. It isn't. It is not always good. Says this black guy with ancestors who are no longer here because of dark machinations, right? Uh, the subtitles in all three books of the Knowledge trilogy pay homage to this idea. The trial of personal vignettes, the trail of personal vignettes stretch from Confucius to Pope Gregory the First, to Bach, to Mozart, to Dostoevsky, a panorama of creators. Borsing also adheres to an incremental approach to history. Although genius is unpredictable, it still builds upon the accomplishments of those who came before. Amen to that. Repeatedly, Borson links changes in the way we view ourselves to artistic and creative changes. Yeah, the question of Western culture. See, I hear a lot about this Western culture thing. You can only write a book from the culture that you're from. So I'm pretty sure all these Chinese people writing about America or New York or whatever, England, Britain, whatever, right, has an Eastern tinge to their writing. How can they not? Borson announced in his notes to the reader above that he approached the subject from a Western orientation. Okay, he didn't hide it. His concern is not strictly identifying great creators and their creations, but also asking why. And this question formed the base of his Western orientation. Why were European painting styles and techniques in constant flux, while China's remained relatively unchanged? Why did music acquire polyphony and instrumentation and evolved into a myriad of related styles, while Indian music saw little evolution? Why did architecture undergo such radical transformation in the West? Why did Europe become the land of literacy and books? These questions led Borson to certain proposals. He suggests that the people of the book, Jews and Christians, came to view themselves in a different light than other cultures. Well, yeah, other cultures also didn't have. Okay, we're just gonna not even finish that sentence. Um, Came to view themselves, but first they didn't know about the other cultures. But okay, Jews and Christians came to view themselves in a different light than other cultures. What was the other cultures? Africa was the only really other culture they knew. Their beliefs in a creator God let them view creation as participating in God's creation. As their God creator created, so did they. Okay, they became a creative people, scrutinizing, questioning, and imagining. Other cultures had movements of creative impulses, but the idea of creativity for its own sake was not sustained. Wow, really? Okay. Other cultures, for other reasons, declined the creative road. Hinduism viewed the universe and our lives as cyclic, having no beginning and ending only when we merge with the oneness and escape this world. Buddhists did not ask why, but instead preached submissive acceptance of our lot in life. Wow, really? Buddhists preach submissive acceptance of our lot in life? I'm not a Buddhist, but I've read a lot about Buddhists and I practiced Buddhism for a little bit. I would totally have a problem with this sentence. I would totally not. I am not feeling this sentence. Buddhism did not ask why, but instead preached submissive acceptance of our lot in life. Okay. Confusion concerned itself not with its ultimate question about God and the universe, but with the rules of practical daily life. Although China had an ancient painting tradition, the intertwining of calligraphy with art, as well as the codification of rules for painting, resulting in unchanging static styles. Hold on, let's read that again. The intertwining of calligraphy with art, as well as the codification of rules for painting resulting in an unchanging static style. Islam held that Allah alone was creator and claimed an act of creation was considered heretical. Really? So you couldn't. That's why Afghanistan won't let people play music, right? The idea of someone creating a song is heretical. So the devil made music. These people are idiots. Wow, I did not know that. Okay, but if Allah creates and allows you to create and you're part of Allah, how's that not great? How's that not a semblance of God in you? Man, Afghanistan is all fucked up. The Quran itself was not considered a document penned by Muhammad, but a sacred text created at the beginning of time. Islam went so far as to ban the display of human images, which had dire consequences for the development of painting, sculpture, photography, and much of the performing artists in the Islamic world. When saw the ban displays of human image, yeah, so you couldn't paint. You, oh wow, so they can't paint a human image, they can't draw, they can't sculpt. There's no photography, there's no dancing. Yeah, you guys suck. With the rest of the world that thus discussed, Borson began his journey with the Western state Greece. The Homeric poems of God, recited so often, became theater when participant and spectator separated. Greece initiated the cultural pattern that persisted and defined the Western world. Yes, yes. Dance, theater, I mean, the muses, right? The muses. There are 9 of them. Music, art, painting, poetry, right? Drama. I don't know why drama and comedy are different, but yeah. Dance, theater, poetry, sports, sculpture, literature, writing, right? Architecture, philosophy, and democracy. At some point, they began asking and attempting to answer fundamental questions about the world and themselves. When Europe rediscovered the writings of Greek philosophers and artistic renaissance exploded upon the scene, right? We know this. Along the way, readers is introduced to a pantheon of heroes and imaginations, a pantheon of heroes the the imagination: Moses, Plato, Aristotle, Paul of Tarsus, Dante, Michelangelo, Dostoevsky, all of whom advanced the free pursuit of learning. Borsing considered this pursuit fundamental to Western culture. Although the folk, yeah, okay, that's one point of Western culture. Don't blow, look, the way people blow smoke up their own skirts is dangerous in the West, right? You told yourself that, no, watch your, okay, don't, no, let's not finish that sentence. All right. Although the focus on the West references to other cultures are included, the chapter "The Road Not Taken: The Japanese Triumph of Wood" is devoted to Japanese architecture. Yeah, Japanese architecture, they made out of wood, and it survived earthquakes. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. And they only have problem when they also make clay bricks. Uh, free preservation. Although the focus is on the West, references to other cultures are included. The chapter "The Road Not Taken: The Japanese Triumph of Wood" is devoted to the Japanese architecture. Chinese art and the reason for its unchanging nature over time are discussed in the painted word, "The Inward Path of Tao." Islam is art and attitude toward art. Oh, I'm sorry, I ran those two sentences together. Chinese and the reason for the unchanging nature over time are discussed in the painted word, "The Inward Path of Tao." Period, Sean. Okay, good. Islam is art and attitude toward art are featured in Satan's handiwork. Literature, the impact of literature. Literature and its development comprises a major portion of the book. This reflects the high regard in which Borsing held the written word. He has stated that the book is the greatest technological invention of all time. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. How is the book not the greatest invention of all time? The idea, if I told, let's take at the simplest way, let's look at it like this. If I told you a joke, right? First of all, before the book, you had to know how to read. But if I told you a joke and you liked it and you wrote it down because it was such a good joke, and then you told your friend that joke and he liked it and he wrote it down, eventually, everyone who hears this joke likes it and writes it down, right? You have a copy of this joke. You now own this joke. So now you take this into a giant book. I have a book of jokes. I'm selling you a book. You can take this. I can tell you 100 jokes. You may remember 3 of them. You can take this with you and share it with other people. Now, let's take joking out of it. Medicine, uh, herbal cure back then, herbal cures and homeopathy, what they had back then, recipes, how to build homes, instructions, how to govern your house, your world, your business, your country, can all be found in books. books. I'm thinking about papyrus and how all these things. But before there was even papyrus, which was is beaten reeds, right? Plant matter. People had the only people who could say anything were leaders of countries, right? And then they would have somebody chisel shit into stone, which took forever. So yeah, how is the book not the most amazing and impressive and world transforming thing? And yeah, Fahrenheit 4. I had to read that twice. I had to read it in junior high school, and I had to read it again like 2 years later in high school. I hated that book, but a whole bunch of there's a whole bunch of like movies based on it. I don't get it. I didn't get it then. I don't get it now. Fahrenheit 451. But yeah, burning books. To this day, I'm one of those people. I don't dog ear books because I was told you don't burn books, you don't destroy books, you can pass them around. But I mean, a lot of people they just I had to get rid of when I left New York. I must have had to get rid of like 80 books that I'll never. I should have wrote all the ones down because I read a lot of books and then I kept some books. It's heartbreaking. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've been streaming for an hour. We're gonna let this keep running because we started late. So he says, I agree with him. He says that essentially the book is the greatest invention man has ever come up with. He suggests that literary both change and literary. Let's start from the beginning. Literature and its development comprises a major portion of the book. Excuse me. This reflects a high regard in which Borstein held the written word. Well, of course, he was an author, right? So it's like the best thing in the world is music, and you're a musician. It's kind of like that. He has stated that the book is the greatest technological invention of all time. He suggests that actually the greatest technological invention of all time would be the printing press, which makes books. It wouldn't just be the book, but I get what he's saying. The printing press gave everybody Gustav. Let's look this up. Gustav, is it Gustav Klimt? No, he's a painter. Goose, Goose, Gustav. Okay, hold it. Gustav Klimt is a. It's not Klimt. It's Klimt. And MT is a painter, right? Yeah, he is a painter. All right. Gustav's printing press. Gustav Bauman. What is no? That's no. No, that's not his name. It's Gutenberg. Gustav. It's Johannes Gutenberg. Why do I have Gustav in my head? Johannes Gutenberg. The Germans. Goldsmith and inventor Johannes Gutenberg was a political exile from Mainz, Germany, when he began experimenting with printing in Strasbourg, France in 1440. Wow. 1440. He returned to Maine several years later, and by 1450 had 10 years, had a printing machine perfected and ready to use commercially. All right, we're going to read about the printing press. Look at this old thing. That is, I would love one of these. Look how big these chunks of wood are. Here's the problem: the more people in the world, the less trees there will be. Sadly, so in this era, you could run amok and build houses after houses. But now, if everybody need a house that you may have to make out of wood, the place would be barren. Look at this. Look at how big the carved wood screw is. Oh my god! I'm sorry. Um, look how big this is. Look at this. Wow! Look. This is a guy. Look at how big this is. This is all wood. Wood is a beautiful thing. And people, pencils, just yeah. Look at man. Look at this wood. We look at this screw. This screw is giant, and it's made out of wood. You can see it chipped right here. Wow. Yeah. Wow. I'm sorry. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where? Oh, I got rid of it because there was a bug on it. All right. Whew. A giant screw. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to giggle. Oh, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right. So, whew. Yeah, I agree that the printing press is the greatest invention in the history of human beings. Because even without the light bulb, you can read it in the daylight. Then when you know what I mean. If you had one, and which would be the most important book? Would be would have to be like a manual of how to do something, right? If someone took you and dropped you on a desert island and said, "I'm give you a cookbook, right? A how to build book, how to build a house, how to build a stream, how to make water, how to cook it, right? And another book of empty pages for you to journal. When you're gone, let's say you do it well, right? But when you're gone, and they come and rescue you, let's say someone comes and rescue you, and not that you die there, the next person on that island may get, you know, two books and like a journal, right? And then eventually you'll have a library of like, and then that deserted island will be a habited place with men and women and children, dogs, not well, maybe not dogs and cats, but you know what I mean? If someone runs across you being marooned there, they'll be like, oh wow, you got it'd be like Gilligan's Island. You have all this stuff. Uh Otherwise, you got to keep it in your head, and that is not easy to do. Oh wow, history of printing, woodblock printing 200, movable type 1410. Let's get me out of here. Woodblock printing, movable type. Okay, why is this movable type? That almost looks like a printing press. I was just gonna say. Intaglio printing. I don't know what that is. Intaglio printing is the family of printing and printmaking techniques in which the image is incised into a surface and the incised lines are sunken areas to hold on to the ink. Sounds like screen printing, printing press, etching, relief printing, lithography, rotary press, offset, daisy printing. All right. Um, Early modern wine press, such as screw presses, were applied in Europe to a wide range of uses and provided Gutenberg with the model for this printing press. And that's how people invent stuff, right? You have uh let's say you have a car and you take out the catalytic converter and you tinker with it and you make a I don't even know what you make out of it, right? You use it to make an anti-gravity machine. You know what I mean? So it doesn't start blatant and naked from something. It usually starts something exists already and then you improve on it. Um motor like bicycles, then they put a motor on them and they became essentially motorcycles. So the literary and its development comprise a major portion of the book. You know, we're not going to read this. This is my own guilty pleasure, but I do have to read the creators, people who created stuff. I'm a creator. The hook, the hook, the hook. All right, let's take this and put this here. What else we got? Do we want to look up Fahrenheit 451 for all you people who didn't read it? It's essentially about a fireman who who lives in a society where books are banned, and he takes a book after supposed to burn them all. He takes one because I guess his own curiosity or whatever. Uh, and it opens up a whole world of fucking trouble for him. 1953 dystopian novel by American writer Ray Bradbury, often regarded as one of his best books. The novel presents a future American society where books are outlawed and firemen burn any that are found. The book's tagline explains the title as the temperature at which book paper burn, catch fire and burn. The auto ignition. In chemistry, the auto ignition temperature or kindling point of the substance is the lowest temperature in which it spontaneously ignites. In a normal atmosphere without an external source of ignition, such as a flame or a spark, this temperature is required to supply. So right. So if it gets hot in here, everything will begin to light, even me. Um, yeah, the hot air. Yeah, I got it. Here. I mean, this is what's going on in some of these places in the the forest, the forest, the fire zones in California. Uh, Trees don't just burst into flame unless it's super hot, but the dry stuff below them, thinner, will catch fire because it's like fucking 200 degrees. Um, the novel president the lead character Guy Montag. Yeah, see, they even use a guy from the movie. Is a fictional character and the protagonist Ray Bradbury's dystopian novel Fahrenheit 451. He's depicted living in a futuristic town where he works as a fireman whose job is to burn books. Yeah, and his wife, the wife in that movie is just kind of like dingbatty and kind of she's not sinister, but yeah, she's just kind of like yeah. I mean, I didn't like that movie, but I suggest you watch it. It's but read the book. I mean, what is it? 400 pages. How long does it take to read 400 pages? 3 hours? Maybe a little more than that. Maybe 4.5 hours. The lead character is Guy Montag, is a fireman who becomes disillusioned with his role of censoring literature and destroying knowledge, eventually quitting his job and committing himself to the preservation of literature. What is wrong with me? To the preservation of literary and cultural writings. The hearth and the Solomon, the sieve and the sand, burning bright. Plot. It, it's set in an unspecified city, likely in the American Midwest, in the year 2049, according to Ray Bradbury's Coda. Though it's written as it's set in a distant future, the earliest edition may clear that it takes place no earlier than the year 1960. The novel is divided into three parts: the hearth, the Solomon, the sieve, and the band. Okay. Yeah, we're not gonna go through all this. Yeah, you guys should give it a good perusing. Where were we? I've got food in there that's now stone cold. That's fine. Booster shots. If you're old or sickly, please get your booster shot. Can I say that without getting in trouble from the YouTube gods? Whew. Biden calls Haitian migrant crisis an embarrassment. Advocates say racism is at the root. Yeah, racism is at the root. So that was a embarrassment, but the exit from Afghanistan wasn't. Okay, all right. Remember, people, it's your weekend. Michael K. Williams died of an accidental drug overdose. Aren't all ODs accidental unless you told somebody you're gonna take yourself out of here? Here's just saying, don't do drugs. Well, don't do drugs that enslave you to it. Do fun drugs. Smoke a J, eat a mushroom, and then leave it at that. Because everything beyond those two things are worse for you. Dismembered bodies of a child, two adults found burned in a Texas dumpster. Why? Yeah, Elon Musk has seen his musician girlfriend are semi-separated. Just look, man. It looks like all guys with money. You better watch these loose bitches. That's all I have to say. All these relationships that last a week, but they always produce a kid. It's sinister, ladies. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. U.S. funds Florida school district after state cuts over mask. So the state cut the mask mandate, and the federal government gave them the money. The federal government should take it out of their highway expenditure. A lot of this is ridiculous. Your state is not a nation unto itself, and America has let that be thought of as canon in America. So sad to say, but some immoral people in southern states could be evil. States' rights. States' rights means that we get to have slaves. We get to make sure women don't drive. We get. What are you talking about? All the states do the same thing. So all this states' rights shit is really just making my head freaking hurt. Chuck Grassley, the oldest Republican in the Senate, will run for real for election. Because what else is he going to do? Go home and watch Matlock? He wants to sit here and bother you with his stupid ideas. No interracial marriages, no gay marriages, no midget marriages, no. It's just going to get stupider and stupider. Biden says he plans to get a COVID-19 booster shot. Yeah, makes sense. You're an older American. Oh boy. Stop making employees turn on webcams during meetings. Why? Limits on toilet paper and cleaning supplies are back at Costco. Here we go. Second round. Start hoarding. Start hoarding your stuff now. Good Lord. Chris Cuomo calls alleged harassment incident with ex boss not sexual in nature. So, oh my God, the balls on this guy. So you sexually harassed your boss. That is just wow. That is I don't even know what to say about that. I've never heard that before. You sexually don't your boss fire you? I guess not celebrities, right? Yeah, you try to sexually harass your boss at the Walmart or the Chick-fil-A or the whatever, whatever regular gig you got. Try to sexually harass her at the bank. Ooh, branch manager. You are wearing them jeans. Get over here and give me some of that. You're fired. Is that the way that works? Sexually harass your boss. We're gonna look into that as soon as I fill this glass. Sexually harass your boss. All right, 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 all right. Ouch. Forgot that's low. That Hoyt. All right. Chris Cuomo. How sexually harasses your Chris Cuomo. Social media explodes after CNN Chris Cuomo accused of sexual harassment. Chris Cuomo's former boss at ABC News accused the CNN anchor of sexual harassment. Oh no, there's a picture of him without his shirt on. What is okay, birds? What is this one? Chris Cuomo apparently caught naked in wife Christina's. Oh, look at this. So he's back there. Yoga video. All right. Caught flexing his muscles in the elevator. I don't even know what to tell you. I don't even know what to tell you. Former ABC News executive says Chris Cuomo sexually harassed her. Ugh. Here's my oh my god. I mean, I think I've been very clear about this, right? I think some of these serious allegations you should have a police report for. You shouldn't come back 30 years. I think it can be used as a political tactic against people, right? Oops, sorry about that. It can be used as a tactic against people. Um, oh, is he missing a part of his ear? Someone bit his ear off. Um, but this shit is just. I mean, at this point, everybody's a veteran TV. I'm sorry, it's not sexual in nature. A veteran TV news executive seen Chris Cuomo sexually harassed her by squeezing her buttocks at a party in 2005. That is sexual harassment under the statute, boys and girls. Shelley Ross said in an opinion piece in the New York Times on Friday that Chris Cuomo, who had formerly reported to her at ABC News, greeted her with a bear hug while lowering one hand and firmly grabbing and squeezing her. Really? While she was at a party with her husband. These people are just, oh my God. So here's my thing. This happens. What did you do immediately thereafter? He said, I can do this now that you're no longer my boss. No, you can't. She responded, no, you can't. Push him off while stepping back to reveal her husband, who had witnessed the episode. And who did what? What did he do? Oh, there you go. He's got it. She's got an email. Cuomo sent an email shortly after saying he was ashamed. He mentioned a celebrity who had been arrested for similar behavior recently and apologized to Ross and her husband. That right there is codification of what she said. As for comment, Cuomo took time, as Shelley acknowledged, our interactions were not sexual in nature. It happened 16 years ago in public, saying when she was a top executive at ABC, I apologized to her then and I meant it. Yeah, I don't know if he should be fired for something that happened 16 years ago. What do you got that's recent? Cuomo, the host of the Cuomo Prime Time, has faced criticism for his role in the. Yeah, this might be one too many. But I don't see really how it can be the one too many unless they're desperate to get rid of him. And I don't think they're desperate to get rid of him. Andrew Cuomo, a Democrat who had denied touching any of the women improperly. Chris Cuomo told CNN Real last month that he had advised his brother to be contrite. I was there to listen and offer my take, Cuomo said, and my advice to my brother, got to throw that in there, was simple and consistent. Own what you did. Tell people what you'll try to do, that you'll try to do better. Be contrite. Finally said what it, no, I don't believe he said that shit at all. Uh, she said she sees apology as an attempt to provide himself with legal and moral coverage. What legal coverage? Everybody sues for everything. Fuck this woman. Fuck this guy. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure if you're gonna start talking, spill all the beans. There are other guys there. I know it. I fucking know it. So she just looks like a political operative. Um, well, not political operative, but a lot of this is just kind of like, you know what? Just stop. And that right there is arrogant ass hattery too. She was no longer his boss, which is why he did it. Goes to judgment, man. I don't even know what to say. I don't like either way either one of these things played out. 2005, yeah, man. 2005 in my head seems like yesterday, but it wasn't. It was 15 years ago, 16 years ago. So I don't know what they're going to do about it. More people need to actually, I don't know. But the way they've rewritten the laws, you can be like sent to jail for something that happened in 1971. Just kind of like some shit is just ridiculous. There's a statute of limitations generally, and it's about 7 years. It's for everything but rape and murder. So why are you telling me this when you didn't go to anybody and I will give you, oh, I got drunk and I was an asshole. I drank too much and I'm sorry. I totally give you that. But you can't have 19 other women come forward and say you did the same thing throughout your career and your history, right? But if you bring someone forward and only one person, hold on, what is going on here? If you bring them forward and only, how about that? If you bring them forward and only one person did it, here you go. Uh, not if you bring them forward, no, only one person. If you bring them forward and the person has done this one thing one time 1,000 years ago, I'm not really willing to ruin him for it. I'm really not. That's just me. Other people can be like, no, he did it 16 years ago. It's just as, and that your position is valid. I'm not saying it's wrong, and I'm not saying how dare you not be where I'm at. I'm just saying me personally. I'm like, oh man, whatever. All right. Um, we've been streaming for an hour and a half, and we're not done yet. He grabbed her butt in front of her husband. Why does her husband not beat the fuck out of you? Are you bigger than her husband? That's a concern. But at least make a fucking like, yeah. I don't know. Man, I don't know. All this fake prim and properness is a problem. New details emerge about Brian Laundrie's behavior. So his behavior. I love how all these people saw something. Like, look, people always see stuff after, right? And I think a lot of people just want to be on CNN. Oh, I happen to be by this person when this horrible thing happened. Let me go tell the media because I'm not going to be around any other horrible things anywhere near this. Here I am in, you know, a small not Wisconsin. Where were they? Where were they? This small town. You got to watch people. People lie for all sorts of nonsense reasons. People have lied to take credit for murders they didn't commit. And then when you throw them in jail after they've been there for a while, Wyoming, thank you. After they've been there for a while, they go, oh, I really didn't do it. And then nobody wants to let them out because they just want to shut the door on it. They had a case where a guy's twin brother took the bid for it. And after 2 years, he was like, this is bullshit. I'm not doing 7 years of this. And he was like, I didn't do it. My twin brother did it. They were like, and then he proved it. Right. And then they went and got a twin brother. But they arrested him for subversion of justice. And then I think they gave him jail time. But I don't know if it was time served, but I don't think it was. Just, and they were teenagers too. One was like, I think they were 16, 17 when they did it. And then the dude was 19 or 20 when he was like, I want out of jail. This is ridiculous. Biden will not invoke executive privilege on Trump records in June. So Biden is going to give all Trump records to the media because fuck you, Donald Trump. We are the politicians, us people who we always protect each other. I'm telling you, man, it's so vile. It's not the same thing for everybody. It's my group is better than your group. He's the worst president. He had some guy thrown out of a press conference today, which I've never seen before. I saw it at the Rose Garden, but yeah, he's always been a smug and mean person. All of his retorts say that about him, and now he's the president. He's no different than the Cuomos or the Bushes or any of this. They just have a spat going on, and we're supposed to choose sides. British Prince Andrew accepts U.S. service of Virginia Giuffre's sexual assault lawsuit. Britney Spears is ready for freedom. Had her jailed in that giant mansion. You know, these are the people that they tell you are the people you should be concerned with and make sure they have a happy life. But I want to remind you, The eviction moratorium is over, and people are being thrown out on the street as we speak, and they're not on TV. I might be next. Can I live with y'all? I'm homeless. That's not funny. People are really gonna be homeless and being thrown out in on the street with their children, and then the government will come and take their children. It really is dark. In style, Monica Lewinsky is taking control of her narrative and looking toward the future. It's been 30 fucking years. You know how many times I've seen the same story about taking control of your narrative, Monica? We spoke about this yesterday. It's very simple. Busy Biz, what's up? It's very simple. Like I said, I mean, she's not an innocent victim here. She wasn't a child, all right? She was a grown ass woman. She was 23. She was a young woman, and he was a much older man. He's guilty, but she's guilty too. She's guilty too. And like I said yesterday, some people like that Kennedy mistress who kept her mouth shut and while she did all this stuff, and the Roosevelt mistress who they wrote letters, snuck her in while the first lady was out of the place. And I'm sure that was what she was expecting. And then would tell somebody in 10, 20 years, oh, yeah, me and the president had an affair in the White House, and it was this, right? But it blew up in like 2 months. And now here you are, 30 years later. I mean, look, ladies, if you want some advice on men, here's the thing. Just like a guy who's a billionaire will marry a hostess at a casino, but a woman who's a billionaire won't. All right. We have different priorities. Uh, Having said that, a guy, you could have been a prostitute or a porn star or whatever. A guy will still marry you, right? And da 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 da. But he doesn't want to be ridiculed for it. So that shit you did cannot be known, right? He can't go to the bar and laugh off 1,000. Hey, your wife was a porn star. She did the da da. Or hey, your wife was a woman who blew the president. He did, you know, you can't have it. And it's not on him to just accept bad treatment or fight every day over it. You know how many people I meet who don't even know basic, what's the word I'm looking for? Basic standards of the opposite sex. This is not a rare thing. This is most guys, right? Most guys. If they really like you and you've got a shaky history, they don't want other people, sexual, by the way, they don't want other dudes to know about it. They don't. So here's Monica Lewinsky. Who's she going to marry? Highly educated. She's not dating guys at the Walmart. She's trying to date lawyers and lobbyists and all this. And they don't want to bring her to a party. Who knows? The president might be at that party. Hey, I know your wife. I mean, I feel bad for her, but at the same time, you know, it is what it is. Who are you going to blame? The men? I think women have it really good in America. In other places, women can't even drive. Can't even drive. Outrageous. And if you try and sing, not just drive. If you go to Afghanistan, you can't drive in Iran. You can't drive in Iran. But you go to Afghanistan, you can't even walk around with your face showing as a lady. So you know all these T-shirt with pokies are out of the question. That right there, the death penalty. Did I see your nipple poking out? Alligator devour Florida man's pet dog during a walk. That's crazy. All right, hold on. I love dogs. How do you not protect it? Dog is a member of your family. How are you not protecting it? Alligator devours pet dog. Fucking Florida. The page is gone. Really? All right. Alligator devours Florida man's pet dog during walk. That is something else. An alligator killed and ate a pet dog during a brazen daytime attack that occurred just hours after another terrifying assault by one of the reptiles nearby. Cheryl Dufay told ABC7 that her husband Timmy went out to exercise their 3-year-old Labrador Greyhound. That is a big fucking dog. A Labrador Greyhound. She said, I went to the store. I went to the store and the old man took the dog on a walk. The disabled military veteran used a mobility scooter to walk the dog as the pair approached their home at the end of the as the pair, him and the dog and his scooter, approached their home in Lime Key Lane at the end of the walk. Tragedy struck. He unleashed the dog and the dog ran near the canal. I guess a gator grabbed her. He heard the dog yelp one time and that's all he heard. Hearing the distressing sound, the owner of the unfortunate pet attempted to leave his mobility scooter to investigate closer, but he fell and damaged his leg in the process. He only discovered the gruesome fate of his dog later while he was being treated in the hospital. His wife said they let him know that there's a gator with a dog in its mouth. The dog leg was hanging out of the gator's mouth, I was told. Cheryl described as a lifelong Florida. You know how big these fucking gators are? The dog leg was hanging out. Cheryl described as a lifelong Florida resident, added that she was distressed about the nature of the death and the animal they had rescued as a puppy. She said, I'm not going to go by the edge of the canal. You're fucking, what did this say? Described as a lifelong Florida resident? You don't know well enough to stay the fuck away from the canals? Oh my God. While alligator hunters attempt to track the animals responsible for the dog's attack, were unsuccessful, the search was more fruitless for the culprit of another attack. A 73-year-old man was attacked by an alligator while gardening at his home in Verona. Attacked by an alligator while gardening at her home on September 23rd. That was last month. That was not last month. That was this month. Yesterday. What? September 23rd. The woman's name as Jane by name was reportedly bitten on her leg before she was managed to fight off the reptile with a shovel. According to 9/11 calls, the alligator initially pulled Jane into the water. She was tending her plants and those gators thought she was something else. Yeah, here you go. We humans, how y'all doing, are alpha predators, right? Tigers, bears, alligators, also alpha predators. Will eat packs of wolves, alpha predators. Packs of wolves have killed a ton of people. Ugh. And I mean, what would you do? What they do is they pull you in the water and drown you, and then they eat you, right? But if you don't have a shovel or a stick, how are you getting out? Poke them in the eyes, okay. But there's usually more than one down. Oh man, this just sounds like all kinds of fucked up. The Great Naples Fire Rescue confirmed that both attacks took place. And alligator attacks are unfortunately very common in some southern eastern U.S. states, and serious incidents involving the animals occur quite often. I guess this is one of those things where it happens so often they don't tell us who don't live there, but it's probably always on the news there. So where are the alligators? Florida, right? Um, Places in Georgia, places in New Orleans. That whole, we can look it up. We don't even have to. Oh boy, we don't even have to guess. Oh boy, what are you doing? Uh, Alligators are different from crocodiles, by the way. Alligators in the U.S. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This is their roaming range. Oh my God. That's a lot of people. Alligators in Texas. I didn't know that. All of Louisiana, all of it. And they get flooding. Why would you? I mean, wow. Louisiana, a lot of Mississippi. I'd say 85% of that. Alabama, right next to Mississippi, the three states, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. Um, yeah, all of Florida, all of Louisiana. Whew, that is not awesome. That is not awesome. Look at these things. These things are ginormous. And then there's this girl. Yeah, she deserved everything she gets. This is the nonsense. But sometimes they do this by making sure that these things, look at how big this thing is. Thank you. All right. Time check. We have been streaming for an hour and 45 minutes. Look at the, well, you can't look at the size of that because it's tiny. But Jesus, these things are ginormous. Ooh, what is this? Oh, he's got a bird in his mouth. Here's the thing. Baby alligators are born dangerous, right? They're too big to eat you, but they fucking do eat like small frogs and shit, right? Same thing, just that big. And then that big, they'll eat uh if they can catch a small turtles or things that crawl. By the time they're this big, they can find birds. By the time they're that big, they'll eat cats. By the time they're as big as this desk, they'll eat you. Is an amazing thing. Not changed for millions of years. Alligator Lake. Are you serious right now? Why would you put this up this small? Oh, people are ridiculous. Ugh. Yeah. Is this going to be tiny too? It's slightly better. Look how many. Yeah, so there's never one in a lake. There's never one in a lake. And then they don't swallow you whole. One grabs your arm, he twists one grabs it, and then one to get an arm, one to get a leg, one to grab the head. And they work by tearing you apart to eat you because they don't chew. Wally. Well, there's aha. I remember watching do we even want to look that up? Faces of Death alligator. So as if I remember it right, Faces of Death Gatorama. Right. So if I remember it right, what happened was I'm not gonna show it because oh my god. So what happened was there was a guy, a games warden, right? So he's on a fan boat and you got people around going, and Bob is gonna do XYZ about the Gators or whatever. So he takes a rope, he's got it wrapped around his arm, and then he like a lasso, and he lassos the gator, and he yanks it, and then the gator yanks back, and he just goes like 20 feet from the boat, and then they all just set on him, and they were trying to pull him back, and they got him back in the boat. They got his torso in. I think his head was on, a leg was gone, like an arm was gone, a leg was gone, another arm was like, yeah, they did him in. And I was like, oh my God. Faces of Death. Yeah. Gator attack caught by man's GoPro. Yeah. Yeah. Do we have this? This is the guy. Oh, good Lord. Why'd you put these tiny things up? Anyway, let me put this up. But this is the games warden. This guy. I thought this was a fan boat. The way your memory remembers. Brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. There's one where a guy gets eaten by a bear. Yeah, it's all ridiculous. But people do dumb stuff, and what are you gonna say? You can't do X, Y, or Z. They're gonna do it anyway. And then when the gator bites their face off, they're gonna come to you talking about, oh my God, what a tragedy. This is horrible. No, 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 no. Stop fucking with some shit. Some shit should not be fucked with. And if you do fuck with it, I expect warrior type shit from you. I expect you to have a spear and have killed that fucking thing. Because at the end of the day, sometimes you have to, as a human, you have to be super primal, right? And I don't mean that girl who pushed the bear off so it wouldn't eat her dog. I mean, every now and then, guys are like, we have to track through this, and there's bears, and we have to watch our back and make sure. And I'll look after you, and you look after me. Like, that kind of stuff. I wouldn't be good at it, but I think you have to acknowledge that it's still a wild world, right? There are bears here, right? And they roam freely. Wolves roam the country. They're not. I mean, I'm a city kid. They're not roaming through cities. But if you live in these environments, Southeast, all these people who moved there from New York, you better know what's around you. Like I tell my nephew, I love him to death, and I tell him, you can't keep that dog outside because there are big ass birds here. In New York, you have falcons which nest high in the skyscrapers, but you rarely see them, right? Um, Most of the big are rock pigeons. Those gray pigeons, rock pigeons, which are the same as doves, right? So have you ever seen a dove? You've seen a rock pigeon. They're gray. People call them flying rats, but those aren't going to fly off with your kids. Here, big ass birds doing giant circles. They eat roadkill on the street. They're I mean, about 2 feet high. And some are, yeah. We've had eagles here. You keep your little dachshund or your dog under 20, not 20 pounds, but I'd say like a cat, like a 8 to 10 pound cat. Cats get taken all the time here. Is no one? I mean, it's sad to say, but yeah, cats, uh, birds of prey. Yeah, they just swoop down and grab your cat and are gone. And pets. Let's do that. Protect your dog from hawks and other birds of prey. On August 12th, 2000, in Beach Island, South Carolina, William Grace was wakened from his nap by the terrifying scream of his 10-year-old Pomeranian T. Grace ran out of his house into his backyard to find a large hawk attacking his 10-pound dog. He wanted to kill the bird, but raptors are federally protected, so all he could do was chase the bird away and bury his buddy. Dog weighing as much as 60 pounds are on record as having been attacked by raptors. I mean, people are ridiculous. People are fucking ridiculous. Like, yeah, just don't leave them outside, man. It's dangerous. Uh yeah, we're gonna end this. All right, it is 8:30. Wally Gator. That's one of those old. That reminds me of well, who's the guy? He was a cat and he had a group. Something cat, not Danger Cat. He was like a cool cat. And it came on with Magilla Gorilla. What was his name? Right? No, not Felix. I remember Felix the cat, the wonderful, wonderful cat, right? He had a magic bag. But the guy who Magilla Gorilla, right? That's gonna come up. See them on Inception, character description, other appearances, cultural references. Magilla Gorilla is fun. I mean, no, 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 no. No, I guess it was a show by itself. It didn't say. All right, you know what? Hanna-Barbera cartoons. It was definitely a Hanna-Barbera cat. What was his name? Ace? It wasn't Ace. Hanna-Barbera cat. Not this one. Here's a nice big old picture of a whole bunch of them. Top Cat. Here he is. So yeah, all right. So that's what I thought you meant because Top Cat. I know Top Cat wore a hat. Garfield runs around naked, man. And Felix had a magic bag, which I like. Like I used to love Felix the Cat reruns as a kid. Uh, but who's Wally Gator? Wally Gator. Not the voice actor. Oh, he's not a cat. Right, Wally Gator. Oh my God. What's his name? Wally Gator? All these cartoons are all in my head, and I don't even know some of these names. Who's this guy in the red? He looks like a doorman. I guess that was a thing back then, doorman, right? Mind you, people who are writing these cartoons for these kids are like 60, and their references are always off. So I am not a young man anymore, but I grew up on cartoons, right? And comic books. And now, I mean, cartoons have always been big. Cartoons were big in the 20s, right? So no change in cartoons, but comic books are all over the place now in the last 10 years because those people who grew up on comic books, Marvel, DC, got to the point where they got power in the industry and they were like, hey, what about a superhero movie? Right? Um, like I said, it was westerns forever up until like 1967, and every now and then you'll get a western by people who used to make western, like Clint Eastwood. He started out in westerns, right? Um, but westerns, I like westerns, but westerns are dead. I like western because they're a truncated story. It's a place, it's a hideout in the hills. It's either a town, right, or a hideout in the hills, and the good guys and the bad guys. There's no mystery as who's doing what. Um, and then there's no bloodshed. It's so ridiculous. And a guy pull a 6 shooter and shoot 1,000 rounds. And it's very, everyone always has, right, a hat. They have I'm about to say a neckerchief, like a bandana, I guess. Sometimes they have a vest. Sometimes they don't. Some, always have a gun belt. Sometimes it's a dual rack. Sometimes it's not. They always have a horse and they always have a rifle and there's always drama. It's very, it's like wildlife space movies, right? Space, you know what you're going to get in a space movie. There's not going to be very much romance. It's just going to be wild, nonsensical bullshit, gunnering around, and then they're just going to kill the bad guy. So not 50 years ago, 80 years ago, 90 years ago, it was cowboy movies, and when you got tired of cowboy movies, it was swashbuckling movies. But swashbuckling movies died out in the 50s, and cowboys movies died out in the 60s. Then everything became a cop movie. And now I don't know how long people are going to be in love with cop movies, but you're going to have to find something else, right? Uh, like rock music ruled the world at one point, and now it's rap music. Who are even the good rock bands anymore? There are no big hair bands. No, like people who like Metallica like Metallica. Like people, I had a friend who turned me on to the Beatles. He gave me all that stuff, but he was still listening to like stuff from the 70s and 80s. It's like people made more music since then. I don't like it. Okay, fine, you don't like it, but I love the Foo Fighters. I think they're like Dave Grohl is great. There goes my hero. I mean, born to be a rock star. But I think the age of the rock star is kind of dying. It's really the rap star now. Um, and we'll see how long that goes before it's something else. Before that, it was big band music in the 40s, right? So in order for you to start a band, you needed 13 people. And that changed when Buddy Holly reset the band, and the band became 3 people, right? It became the lead singer who played the chords. It became the lead guitarist who sang backup and played the solos and right. Um, and it was the drummer who kept the time. Blah, 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 blah. Then it became 4. It became a rhythm guitarist, uh, lead guitarist, drummer, um, rhythm guitarist, lead guitarist, drummer, and hold on, wait. Why am I missing? Buddy Holly was 3 people. Buddy Holly and the Crickets were 3 people, right? So the singer, well, I guess the singer, right? Okay, so I'm a little off, right? It's 3 bands. It was a drummer. It was the lead who played the chords, and there was a I'm sorry, it was the lead singer who played the chords, and it was the lead guitarist who played backup. Then he became the drummer, the bassist. They threw a bass in there, uh, chords, and lead guitarist. All right, good. Woo, all right, woo. I almost had an episode. I do like the Beach Boys. Wally was a swinging his alligator in the swamp. I don't know why that's hysterical to me. Yeah, it's all very chasing ladies, isn't it? Wally Gator. Oh my God, is this Wally Gator and this had better be big. It's not. Look at this. Wally Gator and who's this? Not the Punisher. Who's the DC character with one eye? I used to know all these characters as a kid. But this is pretty funny. He still got the arm cuffs and the collar. Um, Wally Gator. Wally Gator Old Zoo. Back then, everybody smoked cigars, baby. Wow. I did. Yeah. God only knows what I'd do without you. Yeah, you like the Beach Boys. They had a lot of good melodies, and apparently they had a genius in their midst. We're not gonna look this up again. Do we want to look up the Beach Boys hits? I mean, like I said, I grew up in Brooklyn, but they were playing those Beach Boys tunes on the radio here about surf and sand. You're like, what? And you knew them, right? They were always on the radio. The Beach Boys during their 2012 reunion from Brian Wilson, who's the genius, Dave Marks, Mike Love. Is it? Are they also alive? I guess they are also. Okay, they're also alive. The Beach Boys are an American rock band that formed in Hawthorne, California in '61. The group's original lineup consists of brothers Brian, Dennis, and Carl Wilson, their cousin Mike Love, and friend Al Jardine. Distinguished by their vocal harmonies, adolescent oriented themes, and musical ingenuity. Musical ingenuity is right. They are one of the most influential acts of the rock era. The rock era. That's good that they call it the rock era. They drew on the music of older pop vocal groups, 1950s rock and roll and black R&B to create their unique sound. And under Brian's direction, often incorporated classical or jazz elements and unconventional recording techniques in innovative ways. Yeah, it sounds like young people doing it for themselves. It's like sounds like hip hop before hip hop, right? That you got some shit you had and you just threw it into a soup and you made something unique and totally brilliant. One of the first, I heard that their father was a problem, though. Isn't that always the way? Historical landmark in Hawthorne marking where the Wilson family home once stood. I get around. Yeah, another great song. I get around. One, two, three, four. There's five of these guys. Brian Wilson, 66. Apparently, Pet Sounds is the fire. Van Dyke Park, Brian's lyricist and collaborator for the unfinished album Smile. His name is Van Dyke Parks. I'm thinking of good vibration. Yeah, I mean, how do you not love these guys, right? They feel like California to me, right? Their sound is very much a sound of a place. Um, Good stuff. You can't hate on it. The Beach Boys performing in Central Park for ABC TV special 1971. They look like hippies. Let's see, times change. You wear what your contemporaries wear. Long hair, beards. Look at them all. They look like a country. They look like Leonard Skinner. Apparently, Brian Wilson was a genius. Okay, stop showing me. I mean, I love. Oh, really? A Rickenbacker. A Rickenbacker 360-12, identical to 12-string guitar used by Carl Wilson in the 1990s. This was 12-string. I'm having trouble with the friggin' six strings. Influences. The band's earliest influence came primarily from the work of Chuck Berry, the Four Freshmen. Performed by the Four Freshmen, their hearts were full of spring, was a particular favorite of the group. By analyzing the arrangement of pop standards, Brian educated himself on jazz harmony. Bearing this in mind, Phil Lambert noted, if Bob Flanagan helped teach Brian how to sing, then Gershwin, Kern, Porter, and other members of this pantheon helped him learn how to craft a song. Wow, this is a fucking long article. Who wrote this article? It had to be industry people. Saw on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Keyboards. So he stopped playing keyboards, but he kept playing vocals. Huh. I like these how they tell you who did what and how long they did it for in the band. But Mike Love has done vocals since the start. Guitar and vocals. Brian Wilson did all of that shit in the beginning. He did bass, he did keyboards, he did vocals. I guess he left and came back to the band. Dennis Wilson started the band and left in '85. Vocals and drums, apparently. Let's get some of these songs. What are they? Studio album. God damn, that's a lot of studio albums. 2, 4, 6, 10, 12, 14, 15, 22, 24, 30. 31 albums. Let's say you put 10 songs per album and you have 31 albums. That's like 300 songs. I really want to get to cracking. They had a song as recently as 2012. That's why God made the radio. Selected archival releases. And they did 10, 20 films, 10 films. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 films. Yeah, when people like you, they really, I mean, Rihanna's a billionaire, isn't she? She sells you what? Good music and lipstick. I think she made a lot of her money off of the lipstick. um, did they really? Hold on, let's look this up. I thought they were all alive. Uh, the Beach Boys. Huh. Dennis Wilson drowned. Let's put this up. I'm not gonna like that because that seems cruel. Dennis Wilson, The Beach Boys. Dennis Wilson. Oh, because they're not. Well, obviously they wouldn't be in the picture taken in 2012. Alrighty then. Let's go back to that list of who did what and when they did it. Okay, Mike Love, Carl Wilson. So Carl Wilson stopped in '99. Vocals, lead guitarist, keyboard, 61 to 98. Died in '98. Wow. And Dennis and Carl Wilson, huh? Died in '83. Were they brothers? I guess they were brothers. All right. Obviously brothers. All right. Carl Dean Wilson, December 21st, 1946, February 6, 1998, was an American musician, singer, songwriter who co founded the Beach Boys. He is best remembered as their lead guitarist, as the youngest brother of the bandmates Brian and Dennis Wilson, and as the group's de facto leader in the early '70s. He was also the band's musical director on stage from '65 until his death. What did he die of? Death. Wilson became ill at his vacation home in Hawaii in early 1997. He was diagnosed with lung cancer and started on chemotherapy. He had been smoking cigarettes since his early teens. Despite his illness and treatment, he continued to play and sing with the Beach Boys throughout the entire summer tour till its completion in the fall of 1997. Wilson died of lung cancer in Los Angeles, surrounded by his family, on February 6, 1998. Wow, he found he had it, and in a year he was gone. His death occurred just 2 months after the death of his mother, Audrey Wilson. He was interred in West Village Memorial Park Cemetery in Los Angeles. Wow. Dennis Wilson. Dennis Wilson was an American musician, singer, songwriter who co-founded the Beach Boys. He is best remembered as their drummer and as a middle brother of bandmates Brian and Carl Wilson. So the oldest brother survived the younger brothers. That's hard. All right. So what do we got here? Personal life, final years and death. In succeeding years, Dennis abused alcohol, cocaine, and heroin. Okay, following a confrontation and on the airport terminal, he declared to the Rolling Stones, September 1970, that he had left the Beach Boys. They kept telling me I had my solo album now, like I should go off in the corner and lead the Beach Boys to them. The album really bothers them. They don't like to admit it's doing so well. They've never even acknowledged it in interviews. 2 weeks later, disputes were resolved and Dennis rejoined the group. In January 1981, Brian, then girlfriend and nurse Carolyn Wilson, accused Dennis of enticing Brian to purchase about $15,000 worth of cocaine. When Brian's bodyguard, Rocky Pampa, and the Wilson cousins Stan Love learned of this incident, they physically assaulted Dennis at his home. For the assault, they were fined $1,000 and Dennis filed a restraining order. He was a former basketball player. Rushton Rocky Pam is an American former college football player and model who was employed as a bodyguard and caretaker for the Beach Boys, Brian Wills, from 77 to 79. As the Beach Boys pressured Brian to readmit himself into Eugene Landy, Eugene Elvis Landy was an American psychologist known for his unconventional 24-hour therapy and treatment of celebrity clients. His most notable patient was Beach Boys Brian Wilson, with whom he formed a controversial business and creative partnership. Yeah, uh-huh. So you go from being his shrink to his business partner? Yeah, that sounds like abuse to me. Mm. Did he? Carl sang God Only Knows. I love that song. God only knows what I'd be, where I'd be without you, what I'd be without you. God only knows what I'd be without you. God only knows where I'd be without you. Okay, now we gotta look up the lyrics. Um, God only knows lyrics. Stop trying to spell things right. Although that one's a little ridiculous. God only knows what I'd be without you. God only knows what I'd be. All right. Um, Brian. Carl died of cancer. Brian is alive. And Dennis died of drugs. Okay. Final years in death. After he got beat up at the Beach Boys pressured Brian to readmit himself into Eugene Landy's 24-hour therapy program. Dennis was informed by friends that he would be the band's next target to Dennis's disbelief. He was proven wrong as the rest of the band gave him an ultimatum after his last performance in November 1983 to check into rehab for his alcohol problem or be banned from performing live with them. By then, he was homeless. How are you homeless? And living a nomadic, oh, he wanted to be homeless and living a nomadic life. He checked into therapy center in Arizona for 2 days, and then on December 23rd, checked out into St. John's Medical Hospital in Santa Monica, where he stayed until the evening of December 25th, Christmas evening. Following a violent altercation at the Santa Monica Bay Inn, Dennis checked into a different hospital in order to treat his wounds. Several hours later, he discharged himself and reportedly resumed drinking immediately. Yeah, yeah, that's not good. On December 28th, 3 weeks after his 39th, he wasn't even 40. See, this is what happens when you have a fucked up kind of like philosophy about yourself, and then you try and bury it with alcohol. You have all the money in the world to do just that, and you're surrounded by enablers, right? Not necessarily the band because they knew him growing up, and they were all rich too. They didn't have to enable him; they were just kind of, "We'll get rid of you." But I'm sure there were people around him going, "Man, you can do your own thing. You don't need those guys." Da 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 da. Right? Um, if you ever get rich and famous, don't ditch all your fucking friends before the fame, because some of them will be like, "Dude, what are you fucking doing?" Right? And what happens eventually, you get rid of all the people you knew before then, and you're just surrounded by glad handers and yes men, and before you know it, you're in and out of drug rehab. You know, like I say all the time, uh, he's your golden ticket. You need to keep him alive at the very minimum, which they didn't do for Whitney Houston. Ooh, okay, discharged himself and immediately started drinking. On December 23, 3 weeks after his 39th birthday, Dennis drowned. Oh, okay, so he did not die of drug overdose, which was in his future. He drowned after drinking all day and then diving in the afternoon to recover his ex-wife's belongings, previously thrown overboard at the marina from his yacht. Yeah, he wasn't homeless. He had a yacht. 3 years earlier, amidst the divorce. So he was drunk, and he was like, I know I threw it over there, and I'm going to go get it. I'm just going to jump in the water. I'm just going to get it. And then he jumped in the water and fucking drowned. My God. Forensic pathologist Michael Hunter believed that Dennis experienced shallow water blackout just before his death. On January 4th, 1984, the U.S. Coast Guard buried Dennis's body at sea. The Coast Guard buried it off California coast. The Beach Boys released a statement shortly thereafter. We know Dennis would have wanted to continue in the tradition of the Beach Boys. His spirit will remain in our music. His song "Farewell, My Friend" was played at his funeral. Dennis's widow, Sean Love, reported that Dennis had wanted a burial at sea, and his brother Carl and Brian did not want Dennis cremated. At the time, only veterans of the Coast Guard and Navy were allowed to be buried in the U.S. waters without being cremated. But Dennis's burial was made possible by the intervention of then President Ronald Reagan. Nice job, Ron. In 2002, Brian expressed unhappiness with the arrangement, believing that Dennis would have been given a traditional burial. The U.S. Coast Guard were told by the President of the United States to bury him at sea, and they did exactly what they were told to do. Good job, gentlemen. All right, so let's see if he was part of the fucking any of this shit early career. Formation increased contract matching, disassociation, aftermath 70%. Okay, so it's got to be someone here. Member, we served Maynard drum, Viking vocals played during his final years. Okay, early years. Dennis Wilson. When did he join the military? Is what I'm looking for. Possessed with an abundance of physical energy and a combative nature. So he was combative before alcohol. Dennis often refused to participate in family sing-alongs and likewise avoided vocalizing on the early records that Brian made on a portable tape recorder. Dennis later described Brian as a freak who would stay in his room all day listening to records rather than playing baseball. He didn't join the military because normally they would say so up here. So how the fuck did he get a burial at sea? Contact with Manson. He began using LSD in '66. Increased presence. '65, Brown declared his band that he would no longer tour with the group for foreseeable future. The Beach Boys, unfortunately, see, this is the thing. If this was the Rolling Stones, they'd have thrown them out. But they were all family, and these are the ties of family. I'm gonna leave the band. I'm gonna come back to band. I'm gonna do my own thing. Oh, fuck y'all. I'm not gonna. You have to. I mean, it is what it is. Disassociation, aftermath. Yeah, I don't think he was in the American military, but apparently he got a On January 4th, the U.S. Coast Guard buried Dennis's body at sea. The Beach Boys released a statement. Okay, but report that Dennis had wanted to be buried at sea, and his brother didn't want Dennis to be. Look, if you want to be buried at sea, and you can be, you should be. It's your last dying wish. I don't care what your wife says, or your family says, or your fucking kids say. If you want to be buried, but they want to cremate you, what? I mean, it's your last wish. The person who goes against your last wish, in my mind, has always been your enemy. Does no one stand for anything anymore? On January 4th, 1984, good Lord. The U.S. Coast Guard gave him off the coast. Why did he get a burial at sea? He wasn't military. Okay, all right. I'm gonna leave it at that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 9 o'clock. It's sort of outrageous. Well, yeah, but he was the son of a president, right? And he was also connected to a politically influential family. And they knew people could not wait to get a photo of him on the table. So what they did was they buried him at sea. Then they took all the photos and all the from the autopsy and destroyed it. It's like what they did with the owner of um the owner of the Patriots, right? He got arrested for fucking with prostitutes, and then the judge and the defense attorney and the prosecutor all agreed that the evidence should be destroyed. That never happens unless you're connected. And he's connected. He's a billionaire. But and then at the end of the day, all this sex trafficking shit, he should be in jail for it too, and he's not. So yeah, it is that. Uh and I'm not one of these. Look. You should get perks for the gig. You should, but it shouldn't be so outrageous and ridiculous, and it always is. They just take 1932 Ford that appeared in the cover of Platinum Silver album, My Little Deuce Coupe. I don't know, man. I just think it's all very sinister. Um, some small stuff, yeah, but not everything. And everything is the big stuff. They routinely game you with the large elements of what's going on here. And with the large elements is, a guy who you're going to put in jail for doing the same thing, who works at Walmart, as a guy who owned a football company did. They should get the same justice in America, and they don't. So yeah, I'm also not willing to die on that hill either. This whole this hill of sexual depravity, I'm gonna call it. You're bigging up all these women who were prostitutes, quite frankly, who are now selling you rap music. You're bigging up all these guys who were drug dealers who are now selling you rap music. Um, it's it is what it is. They make people a lot of money, so you take care of them. But when you or I, and here's what trafficking is. If I pick you up and I take you to across the state line to hit a, let's say we live a mile and a half from the state line, and I drive across that state line to a bar to buy you drinks to have sex with you, that's trafficking. That's bullshit, right? Everybody's a victim of somebody, and all the men are traffickers. It reminds me a lot of how they organize a law to attack black men. So now I think in order for us to keep power, we have to organize a law so we can attack men uh, on a lot of fronts. And I don't think it's women doing it. I think it's the people who know power doing it. That way, because we won't ever be charged with it. But if you ever took a girl out, for drinks and bought beer or whatever, then we can use that against you, and we can make sure you're not a politician or you're not going to go. You know what I mean? It's all very weird. But you're not going to get rid of sex. Like sex is one of those things uh, that you can always write laws against people for because it's always going to be around. What do you want me to tell you? What do you want me to tell you? The people who are telling you that you should be moral are fucking everybody. And at work, they're completely the worst persons to point their finger at anybody and say anything. Anything. All right. In conclusion, what have we learned? Something I used to ask on my old podcast. Uh, it is 9:03. I guess we should end this thing because we've been running for 2.5 hours. And we try not to run past an hour. Let's kill this. Bam. We try not to run past an hour because no one's going to watch 2 hours of this. Uh, a few years down the line, I'll begin cutting them up in the 10 and 15 minute chunks. But I think I'm about 2 years away from that. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, here we don't have alligators, right? Well, our big concern is giant birds coming down and snatching your dog. So if you do decide to move to the East Coast from the West, know the landscape. Just like if you decide to move from the West Coast to the middle of the country, Wyoming, Montana, know the landscape. There's bears there, right? If you move upstate in New York, you're going to get smaller bears, but you're going to get bears. You're going to get deer. Uh, if you move higher up into Maine, you'll get moose. So know what's around you. My problem down here is all the sketchy people with guns. Um, yeah. So I mean, don't walk into an environment unknowing is my point. And I love dogs. Again, I had a dog for 15 years, and she died the summer before I left New York. And I love her to death, and she was awesome. And her name was Sydney. And yeah, she was just the best girl. Yeah, you're the best girl. Um, you know what? We're gonna put this back where it was. Uh, and I hear people are just loose with their kids. They're loose with their animals. I mean, your dog just got eaten by a, and dogs are curious, right? So, and animal pets like other creatures. Maybe we'll go a little longer. Maybe we'll go to 10. You want to go? You want to go another hour? Oh, this is my. I've begun to write my novel. Not really a novel, screenplay. Because I used to do that to get my brain good. See if I could still construct the story, construct characters, construct the modus operandi, construct the raison d'etre for all the goofiness. Um, I feel like I'm getting stupider as I get older. I really do. So me talking current politics online in 1,000 years, when people find this, they'll go, "Oh, that guy was right on," or they'll go, "Another idiot, wrong on everything." Doesn't he know? It's whatever the future holds and unfolds on us. So yeah, look, listen, man. Men, I say man. It's just it's look. If I started a group, I would call it men eating sandwiches, right? And then someone will show up and go, "I think your title is sexist. Why? Like, why can't man be mankind? Everything can't be a fight, right? If it's a good organization and is doing great things, why would you nitpick the title? You know what I'm saying? The problem is you can't look the southern whack jobs about don't take this stuff down in race history. They're not all wrong, right? You can't erase history. Having said that, you can't keep building on bullshit history either, Southern people. Um, but does that mean you don't take these statues down? Yeah, you should have been up in the first place. The traitors, take them all down. But now you have all these lovely pedestals where you can put great people from your state. I'm sure you have some great women who've done shit from the start, right? From day one, whether that be Betty Ross or who's the lady who started the American woman who started because one's British, you know that's right. Um, I always get them both mixed up. Ah, oh, good lord. Battlefield Nurses of History. Flora, no, it's not Flora. Oh, God, oh, I hate when I get half of something in my. You know what it's like? It's like there's a fog, and you can sort of see someone in it, right? And depending on how close it is, maybe it's just a shadow. Like let's say the fog, the room, the it's a moonlit night, heavy fog, right? You can sort of see something in the distance. Clara Barton, right? I think Clara Barton was American, but the other woman is British. But the other woman name is. All right, we're gonna look up Clara Barton before I forget it. Clara Barton, founder of the Red Cross. Red Cross. She was a hospital nurse in the American Civil War. All right, there's a woman from England though, and her name is. I know you don't watch police films, but did you ever read Joseph Wambaugh's book? He was an LA detective. His book Alcott. No, I've never even heard of this book Alcott. Not. I've now got Clara Pella in my head, which is a pitch lady for with from Wendy's. What is it? Alcott? Louis May. That's pretty good. Louisa May Alcott. Uh book. No, not her books. All right, fine. Yeah, Clara Pella. Where's the beef? Where's the beef? When that was super popular, she had to be 90. You know, it wasn't long for the rest of it. And almost like a year later, they were like, Wendy's pitch ladies, Clara Pella died. And you're like, no, I'm shocked. Can't believe a 90-year-old woman would die like that out of nowhere. Who? What was her name? I hate having something on the tip of my tongue and not being able to pull it out. I used to. Alcott was a woman's name. I thought Alcott was a last name, like a married name, like a surname. Who was this nurse from England? It's English nurse of. I should just let it go. When I was a kid, I used to watch Jeopardy. I love Jeopardy. It's one of those jobs I super wanted, but you got to be super famous and super known to, you know. But I like the idea that even the stuff that doesn't get on TV, you get to read through. Like being an information junkie. Um, it's not. It's Clara Bell. Is it Clara Bell? I've got Clara in my head. Clara Bella. No, it's Clara something. Oh my! You know what? When I start whatever I start, I'm fucking hiring you at a large pay raise, man. It's Florence Nightingale. Florence Nightingale. That's the other famous. Right. Florence Nightingale, OMRRCDSG, was English. Right. Okay. She was a statistician and a founder of the modern nursing. This is why I know her. She was a statistician. You know how hard it is. One of the hardest things to be is an economist, right? But you can get rich being an economist. The only thing harder than that is being a statistician. And the only way you can now get rich being a statistician is essentially fucking internet and internet futures and how it moves money around, like like Bitcoin and all this shit. Knowing when thing what medium pay, and a statistician is a person who works with theoretical or applied statistics. St- Statistics. The profession exists in both the private and public sectors. It is common to combine stat- statistical knowledge with expertise in other subjects, and statisticians may work as employees or as statistical numbers. All right. Um, I have trouble with that word, and I have trouble with uh comfortable. we we all have these words, but what I find is that most people will avoid them. I don't want to be made to look stupid in public, so I won't use that word. Statistician. What is it? It's the ST transition. Sta, 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 statistician, statistician. All right. Still famous after all these years. She passed away. And when was she passed away? 1910. Born 1820. So the course of her life, she saw what? She saw the invention of 1910, right? The radio, the movie cam, well, yeah, the movie camera. She saw the American Revolution, right? She saw the French and what was Napoleon, right? She's in England. She saw the French. When was Napoleon? Napoleon was after the American Revolution. Okay, no, she didn't. This is the thing that I hated about school. I loved all the stories, but I could not figure out. I could not keep in my head the time frame. All right. So let's see. An English social reformer. A reformer is a type of social movement that aims to bring social or also political system closer to the community's ideal. A reformer movement is distinguished from more than radical social movements such as revolutionary movements, right? Okay, we got that. A statistician, which we just read, and the founder of modern nursing. She's the founder of modern nursing. Now, I think, how did I want to read the nursing thing? How did she found modern nursing? Legacy, Crimean War. Is this the one I'm talking about? Florence Nightingale, the most famous country, came during the Crimean War, right, with soldiers, which the Crimean War was a military conflict fought between October 1853 and 1856. Yeah, Napoleon was around in the 18 fucking 50s with Russia lost to an alliance of France, the Ottoman Empire, and the United Kingdom. United Kingdom did nothing but fucking fight. And Sardinia, which no longer exists. The immediate cause of the war involved the rights of Christian minorities in the Holy Land. Another holy war, essentially, which became her central focus when reports got back to Britain about the horrific conditions. It's war. Horrific conditions for the wounded at the military hospital. Oh, at the hospital. I'm sorry. The horrific conditions. I was like, I expect war to be horrific. Wounded, but yeah, you people get shit blown off, right? About the horrific conditions of for the wounded at the military hospital on the Asiatic side of the Bosphorus. The Bosporus, also known as the Straits of Istanbul, is a narrow, neutral strait and an internationally significant waterway located in northwestern Turkey. It forms part of the continental boundary between Europe and Asia and divides Turkey by separating Anatolia and Thrace. Huh. I'm sorry. Oh man. All right, fine. Even better. All right. What the fuck? This has a written yellow. Oh God, I disconnected you. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Um, bam, bam. All right, we're back in it. We are back in it. So this has. Let me get rid of me. This has two dots, right? You can see that. Let's do, 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 do. Two dots, right? Just want to make sure I'm not crazy. Do 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 do. All right, and you click on it, and the dots are gone. And then you click on it again, and it gets tiny. So this is the straight that essentially talking about. My official position is if your landmass doesn't have a waterway or like a river or fucking a lake, you shouldn't be a country. It's too significant for the human animal. So all these tiny little places shouldn't be places. Okay. Oh my god, we're not gonna be able to. God dang it. International Space Station, Black Sea. Yeah, this is a better. This is a better picture. Look at this. Look at that tiny little opening. It gives you all this country, all this space. This is the drama. Why this is important. Isthmus. It must be my lucky day. All right. Black Sea, Turkey over here, and then Turkey has this. Is yeah. See, so you can come through here, come through here. You can come through here into broader North Atlantic. I guess then you're into a bigger pond out under Spain. That's Spain. This is yeah, this is Spain. And out into the Atlantic Ocean up to Britain or yeah. All right. So ugh, but who wants to do all that? That's a lot of boating. All right. In the hospital, Bosphorus opposite Constantinople. A Scruturi, modern day Uskuridin or Istanbul. Britain and France entered the war against Russia on the side of the Ottoman Empire. She and the staff of 38 women, she and her staff of 38 women volunteers nurses, including her head nurse Eliza Roberts and her aunt May Smith, and 15 Catholic nuns. So wow, mobilized by Henry Edward, were sent under the authorization of Sidney Herbert to the Ottoman Empire. So it was her. It was 38 other women. That's 39, and her head nurse Elizabeth, which is 40, and her aunt, which is 41, plus an additional 15 Catholic nuns, which makes it 51, 56 women. So you have 56 women in a war zone nursing countless blown up dudes. She and were sent under authorization of Sydney Harbor to the Ottoman Empire on the way, Nightingale was assisted in Paris by her friend Mary Clark. Was a British writer who was known as a salon hostess in Paris. She was known by her nickname of Clarky. She was admired for her independence and her conversation. Okay. She eventually married the Orientalist. Orientalist. An expert on Asia. It's got to be that, right? Orientalist. Orientalist. Orientalist is a way of seeing what images emphasize, exaggerate, and Orientalism. Okay, I was wrong. I would like a. Why can't I find a fucking definition? Okay. Emphasize, exaggerate, and distorted difference of Arab people and cultures as compared to that of the Europe and the U.S. It often involves seeing Arab cultures as exotic, backwards, or yeah. But why would that be the Arabs and not the Asians? They called it the Orient. unless you're saying that Arabs is the Orient. The Orient is Asia and India, right? The term Orientalism and Orientalists first took on markedly political meaning when they were used to refer to those English scholars, bureaucrats, and politicians who, in the late 18th and 19th century, opposed changes in British colonial policy in India. India is the Orient that had been brought by the Anglicists. Okay, Britannia. This is a big ass definition. Arab, Arabs is include Arab and Asian cultural generally held by Western scholars. All right, all right, I was right. I'm just gonna pat myself on the back and have another sip. Anyway, we've been streaming for a minute now. We've been streaming for 2 hours and 46 minutes. It is Friday. Pour yourself something, light a cigar, light a joint, take your shoes off, keep your pants on, and let's get into it. Wow, this is maybe I will move the show to later. Um, she and the staff of 38 women volunteers. All right. Her friend Emily Clark. The volunteer nurses worked about 295 nautical miles, 339 miles for us Americans, 546 kilometers for everybody else, away from the main British camp across the Black Sea. Okay, so she was at least 400 miles away from the front line. That's good, right? Um, Black Sea, the blah, 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 away from the main British camp across the Black Sea at Bakhmur in Crimea, which Nightingale never visited. I don't know why she would need to visit. Nightingale arrived at Selamia barrack in Scutari, okay, 54. Her team found the poor condition wounded soldier were being delivered by overworked medical staff in the face of official indifference. Yeah, yeah. Medicines were short, supply hygiene was being neglected, and mass infections were common, many of them fatal. There was no equipment to process food for the patients. You couldn't even feed the patients. This frail young woman embraced in her solitude the sick of three armies. What is solitude?
Solicitude.
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 Okay. Care or concern for someone or something. Okay. Caring for means solicitude. Embraced in her solicitude the sick of three armies. Lucien Belden, La guerre de Crimea, les compétences, les abris, les ambulances, les hospital, AUX. All right. Lady with the Lamp. During the Crimean War, Nightingale gained the nickname Lady with the Lamp from a phrase in the report. She's a ministering angel without any exaggeration in these hospitals, and her slender form glides quietly along each corridor, each poor fellow's face softened with a gratitude at the sight of her. When all medical officers have retired for the night retired for the night and silence and darkness have settled down upon those miles of prostrate sick, she may be observed alone with a little lamp in her hand making her solitary rounds. Wow, that's amazing. She did good work. Um, Relationships. Although much of Nightingale's work improved the lot of women everywhere, Nightingale believed that women crave sympathy. Sympathy, the perception of understanding and reaction to the distress or need of another life form. I agree with that. And we're not, yeah, understanding, but who doesn't want understanding? But men generally don't give a fuck about understanding. We just do it. But I think women kind of might want you to kind of feel where they're coming from more, a little more, dare I say it, emotional, a little more connected to emotions than men. right? That's not sexist to say, is it? Um, and we're not as capable as men. She criticized earlier women's rights acts for decrying an alleged lack of careers for women at the same time that lucrative medical positions under supervision of Nightingale and others went perpetually unfilled. Huh. She preferred the friendship of powerful men. Yeah, who don't, insisting they'd done more than women to help her attain her goals. Writing, wow, that's some brutal honesty. The modern feminist would hate you. I have never found one woman who has altered her life by one iota for me or my opinion. She often referred to herself in the masculine as, for example, a man of action and a man of business. Wow. Wow. I may have to find her autobiography. However, she did have several important and long-standing friendships with women. Well, obviously, right? Didn't say she hated women. Later in life, she kept a prolonged correspondence with Irish nun Sister Mary Clara Moore, with whom she worked in Crimea. Her most beloved confidant was Mary Clark, an Englishwoman she met in Paris in 1837 and kept in touch throughout her life. Some scholars of Nightingale's life believe that she remained chaste for her entire life, perhaps because she felt a religious call to her career. Yeah, okay. Then maybe there's that. Maybe she didn't like anybody she ran across. Maybe not everybody likes sex. Some people don't mind being celibate. Some people don't mind their solitude. Not everybody. Look, you have to understand that it's a great wide world out there, and most people only to perpetuate something only have to be, I guess, about 75, 88% of that thing. Some people don't get married, and that's fine. Some people don't have sex, and that's fine too. But it doesn't mean that she was a chaste nun. Do you know why though? Did she mention in letters that she was going to be a chaste nun, or did she mention letters? Oh, woe is me, I can't find the dude, which means she was lovelorn, or did she just never mention it, which means maybe she didn't care? That foreign Nightingale died peacefully in her sleep in her room at 10 South Street, Mayfair, London, at the age of 90. God bless her. All right, let's get to there we go. Clara Barton. Let's get to Clara. Let's see how your story stacks up. Because man, Nightingale is woo. December 25th, 1821, 1912. She founded the American. She was a hospital nurse in the American Civil War, a teacher and patent clerk. A lot of patent clerks. Einstein was a patent clerk, and so was Samuel Clement. Since nursing education was not since nursing education was not then very formalized and she did not attend nursing school, she proved she provided self-taught nursing care. Barton is noteworthy for doing humanitarian work and civil rights advocacy at a time before women had the right to vote. She was inducted in the National Women's Hall of Fame. There's a National Women's Hall of Fame. She died at 92. 90 also. She died at 90 as well. um, Clara Harlow Barton was born December 25th, 1820, born on Christmas Day. God bless you. In North Oxford, Massachusetts, and was named after the titular character of Samuel Richards' novel Clarissa. Clarissa, or the history of a young lady, comprehending the most important concerns of private life, and particularly, I love these old books. They had the longest like titles. Clarissa, or the history of a young lady, comprehending the important concerns of private life, particularly shewing the distresses that may attend the misconduct of both parent and children in relation to marriage. Huh. Particularly shewing the distresses that may attend the. Dang it. I'm glad this floor is carpeted. What is the definition of shewing?
Here's what I found.
I hate that. Just tell me the definition. All right. Yeah, let's go with this one. What's the definition of shewing?
Strew means.
Not shewing. All right, fine.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna have to look it up because I'm having trouble with my ethicists tonight. Shrewing. I know what a shrew is, but what is shrewing? What is a shrew woman? What is a shrew adjective? Are shrews poison? What is a shrew not rooted? Any family shrewing. Shrewing. Meaning. Shrewing. Any of a family of Sauricidae, small cheeked nocturnal insectivores. Yeah, I know what that is. But I want the definition of this word. Taming of the shrew, right? We all know what a shrew is. Shrew, a bad word. The word latter came to be used as to describe a nagging, ill-tempered woman, as in William Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew. Unless you are famous to the shrewing, a nagging, ill-tempered woman. It's a verb. She's shrewing. Wait, is that right? Or is it an adjective? I'm sorry. Oh boy. I'm getting a little groggy. All right, hold on. What is this? Shrew, third person. Allows causing something to be a white blood will show blood. What is this? No, that's not what we were looking up. We were looking up shrew, right? Old fashioned spelling of show. Shoe? No.
Show.
No. Ugh. Shroom definition. All right, here we go. Archaic, shrew. Shrewing. It is a verb. Oh, it's okay. So all right. Oh, good lord, I am tired. So this is also. It doesn't mean what taming of a shoe. It means it's an ancient word. Let's go to the shoe. Right. So they're saying she was named after Clarissa. Right. The most important, particularly like the showing and the distresses that may attend the misconduct of both parent and child in a relationship. It's not anger. It's just kind of like this is how you deal with your parent, your in-laws, and the baby, since you're between both ages of these people, and you have a separate authority in both of those groups. Right? All right. Oh man, do I have not had this on? Good lord, sorry about that. I moved that to show some. But yeah, so that's so yeah, so all right, so she was named after Carissa. I'm not gonna read that. It's a million years old. Her father was a captain, a member of the local militia, and he's a politician who inspired his daughter with patriotism and a broad humanitarian interest. God bless you. He was a soldier under the command of General Anthony Wayne in the crusade against the indigenous in the Northwest. You mean the Indians, right? He was an Indian fighter, as we used to call it, up until about 2000. He was also the leader of Progressive throughout the Oxford Village era. Barton's mother was Sarah Stone Barton. When he was 3, Barton was sent to school with her brother, where she was excelled in reading and spelling. At school, she became a close friend with Nancy Fitz. She's the only known friend Barton had as a child due to her extreme timidity. She had an extreme timidity? Wait, who's Nancy? Wait, is Nancy? Hold it, Nancy Fitz. So Nancy Fitz had an extreme timidity. Nancy Fitz. There's a million Nancy Fitz. Let's go 1800s, 1840. Are we even gonna find it? I guess she was an author. I'm just gonna assume she was an author. When Barton was 10 years old, she assigned herself the task of nursing her brother David back to health after he fell from the roof of a barn and received a severe head injury. She learned how to distribute the prescribed medication to her brother, as well as how to place leeches on his body to bleed him, a standard treatment at the time. She continued to care for David long after doctors had given up. He made a full recovery. Nice. Her parents tried to help cure she had timidity by enrolling her in Colonel Stone's high school, but their strategy turned out to be a catastrophe. Barbie became more timid and depressed and would not eat. She was brought back home to regain her health. So you threw her in. So you threw her in with all these people that she didn't know, and she was afraid of people essentially, and it made it worse. And she had to go and eat in a public place with people, and she wouldn't go eat there. Yeah, okay, I can totally see where this is going. Um, some people are just odd. I appreciate both these ladies already. I may actually have to find a poster and stick them on my wall like a teenage fanboy. Um, she was brought back home to regain her health. Upon her return, her family relocated to help a family member. A paternal cousin of Clara had died and left his wife with four children and a farm. The house that Barton family was to live Barton that the house that the Barton family was to live in needed to be painted and repaired. Clara was persistent in offering assistance, much to the gratitude of her family. After the work was done, she was at a loss because she wasn't anything. What? After the work was done, she was at a loss because she wasn't anything else. After the work was done, she was at a loss because she become yeah, okay. I'm getting goofy. After she was at a loss because there wasn't anything it wasn't any else to help with. Any I knew that something is missing in this sentence. After the work was done, she was at a loss because there wasn't anything else to help with, to not feel like a burden to her family. All right, that sentence is heavy. She began to play with her boy cousin, and to their surprise, she was good at keeping up with such activities as horseback riding. It wasn't until after she had injured herself that Clara's mother began to question her playing with the boys. Her mother decided she should focus on more ladylike skills. She invented one of Clara girl cousin. Oh, I'm sorry. Good lord. She invited one of Clara girl's cousins over to help develop her femininity. From her cousin, she gained proper social skills as well. All right, you need to learn how to be a lady. You need to stop. This happens with girls, man. You get girls who will beat the fuck out of the boys, and the ladies start to come over and go, "You need to be more ladylike and stop beating up the boys." Or it's girls who run with the boys and then get hurt, and then moms go, "Okay, we don't want you to get hurt." But if you got a ton of boys, you're gonna get girls like this. God bless those girls. She began to play with the boys. Okay. To assist Barton with overcoming her shyness, her parents persuaded her to become a school teacher. She achieved her first teaching certificate in 1889 at only 17. This professional interest interested Barton greatly and helped motivate her. She ended up conducting an effective redistricting campaign. Effective redistricting? Really? That allowed the children of workers to receive an education. Successful projects such as this gave Barton the confidence needed when she demanded equal pay for teaching. Early professional life. All right, American Civil War. April 1861, the Baltimore riots resulted in the first bloodshed in the American Civil War. Victims within the Massachusetts regiment were transferred to Washington, D.C. after the violence, which happened to be Barton's home at the time. Wanted to serve her country, Barton went to the railroad station where the victims arrived and nursed 40 men. Barton provided crucial personal assistance to men in uniform, many of whom were wounded, hungry, and without any supplies other than what they carried on their back. We read this story a couple of weeks ago, the Baltimore riots. Um, Remember that? Are you still with us? That's fine if you're not. But yeah, We read about the Baltimore riots last week. Barton provided crucial personal assistance to men in uniform, right? Okay. Where were we? Hungry and without any supplies other than what they carried on their back. She began helping them personally by personally taking supplies to the unfinished Capitol building where the young men of the 6th Massachusetts Militia had been attacked in Baltimore, Maryland, where they were housed. Barton quickly recognized them as she had grown up with some of them, and some of them had even taught. She had even taught. What, really? Barton quickly recognized them as she had grown up with some of them, and some she had even taught. Barton, along with several other women, personally provided clothing, food, supplies for the sick and wounded soldiers. She learned how to store and distribute medical supplies and offered emotional support to soldiers by keeping their spirits high. She would read books to them, write letters to their families for them, talk to them, and support them. Wow. It was on that day that she identified herself with the Army work and began her efforts toward collecting medical supplies for the Union Army soldiers prior to distributing provisions directly into the battlefield and gaining further support. Barton used her own living quarters as a storeroom and distributed supplies with, wow, post American Civil War, American Red Cross. Detail the Clyde Barton Monument at the Antietam National Battlefield with Red Cross formed on the where she brick from the home where she was born. Barton received widespread. Hold it, wait. Before we get to that, post this one paragraph. Huh. Wait. We missed some good shit here, apparently. We may have to read this whole thing. Um, in 1980, she moved to Washington, D.C. and became part of the patent office. Serving under political opposition as one working in the government, her position was reduced to that of copyist. In 1858, under the administration of James Buchanan, who was fired because of Black republicanism, after the election of Abraham Lincoln, had lived with relatives and friends in Massachusetts for 3 years. She returned to the patent office in autumn 1861, now as temporary copyrightist. Okay. Boston quickly recognized him. The price of many work prior to them. Barton used her own living quarters, right? That's where we were. Supplies would help few friends. With the help of a few friends in early 1862, despite opposition to the War Department and among field surgeons, Ladies Aid Society helped in sending bandages, food, and clothing that would later be distributed during the Civil War. In August 1862, Barton finally gained permission from quartermaster, the military term that means of which depends on the country and services in the land armies. Quartermaster is the military term, the meaning of which depends on the countries and service. In land armies, a quartermaster is generally a relatively senior soldier who supervises stores of barracks and distributes supplies and provisions. In many navies, the quartermaster and the officer particular. Okay, so it's different everywhere. Daniel Rucker worked on the front line. She gained support from people who believed her cause. These people became her patrons, her most supported being Senator Henry Wilson of Massachusetts. Okay, so you did a good thing and you gained allies. Like, yeah, she's delivering bandages. Why is that bad? After the battle of Bull Run, Barton placed an ad in the Massachusetts newspaper for supplies. The response was profound influx of supplies. She worked to distribute stores, clean fields. Okay. She began a romantic relationship with Officer Colonel John J. Elwood. And she was appointed Union General. She was appointed by Union General William Butler as lady in charge of the hospitals at the front of the Army of the Okay. So nursing was around. She became an educator. Post Civil War, American Red Cross. Barton achieved widespread recognition delivering lectures in 1865. That's 1868. During this time, she met Susan B. Anthony, okay, and began associating with the women's suffrage movement. She also became acquainted with Frederick Douglass, and became an activist for civil rights. Yeah, why isn't she on the fucking statue? All this nonsense. All right. Oh my God. It's a 9:45. This is a good book. You guys should get it. Do we even want to talk about? Yeah, we talked about it. We don't have to talk about Cuomo anymore. Let's cut this off. Guys, I will be back here tomorrow at 6:30, Saturday. I may, I think I'm gonna enjoy being an old guy. I enjoy being a young guy. I mean, I don't go to clubs anymore, but now I get to sit back, the grayer I get, and tell you whippersnappers to fix your shit. Yeah, I like the sound of that. Get off my lawn. Get off my. Yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna be good at being an old guy, a cranky old curmudgeon. I guess that's it. I want to thank you guys for coming through. Oh, we still have. I would ask that you like and subscribe, as the saying goes. Have a good night, William. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Um, it's Friday night, guys. It's where I am. It's fairly nice. Pandemic or not, wear a mask. Go out and socialize. Some places you don't have to wear a mask, like restaurants. If you don't want to, go to that place and have a beer. Meet your neighbors. Get back. Don't be so. You know what I'm saying? Uh, find some happiness, and you can find some every day. So it's like change all around you. Like you can pick up small bits of happiness, not super great grand happiness like a winning lottery ticket, but you can do something that makes you smile. Today was a good day for me. Um, as proved that this is one of our longest streams in a bit, right? I think the last longest stream we had was 3 hours, 2 hours and 50 minutes. That was a couple of days ago. But normally we've been keeping it respectable. We've been keeping it to an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and a half, because like I said, no one's gonna watch all this, but me. I do because I'm weird. And it goes into the archives, so maybe someone will fall in love with it in 20 years, and I'll be I have a cool internet name like the weird guy in the weird chair who talks weird shit or whatever. But remember, whether you see me tomorrow or not, it's still gonna be your Saturday. You got to get something for you. Like there's too much selfishness in the world about money, things, and stuff. But there's enough sunshine for everybody. There's enough blue sky for fucking everybody. Go get some. You know what I'm saying? And it's fucking free before they put a price tag on it. So yeah, even if it's a half an hour walk just to clear your head from the bullshit, just to walk your dog, you know, and not be on your phone, not stress about your man or your girlfriend, or just for and for that half hour, just a half hour, just 30, set a timer to it. Let your dog do what he wants. What if he wants to sniff that thing too, as long as he doesn't eat weird stuff off the street. If you want to sniff that thing longer than you want him to, don't yank it like, okay, I'm gonna give you another 2 minutes with that. 2 minutes. And then you get back and you'll be like, okay, that was it. But something is slightly like a grain has shifted, and that wall of craziness that blocks your chi, as the Japanese, not Japanese, the Asians say. I think the Chinese really. Um, it is eventually. Look, man, if if you had a wall of doubt, and every day I walked in and took a chunk of it away. It may take me 100 years. It may take me 1,000 years. It may take me 100,000 years. Eventually, that wall is coming down. And this is why I do this now every day. Try to play, because I'm telling you, the other alternative is an early stroke. Is a stroke, or a heart attack just from hating everything. My side is right. What side? We're all supposed to be the same thing. My country, what? I mean, we're all supposed to be the West, right? And if you really want to push it, we're kind of all on this planet together and we all need the same air. So the way I look at this is very simple. We need people who can solve the problem. I can't stress about the problem being solved because I mean, I can, but it doesn't change anything, right? I got one vote. I'm one guy with one vote. I exercise it. Um, and I encourage you to exercise your vote as well. But after that, I'm not going to lose it by watching famous people buy yachts and date each other and then not date each other, then re-date each other. I'm not going to fill my head with horrible rap music about consumerism and gunism and hateism, which is what rap music has become. Um, I'm not going to do any of that. I mean, I can listen to it with this clear mind, so it bounces off me like water on a raincoat. Uh, but some people internalize it, and then you meet those people who want to punch you in the face for telling them to wear a mask, like you're the mask czar, right? It's like you don't look. You need allies if you're going to try and be if you're going to try and do anything. You need allies. I want you to do well in this world. I think you need allies. I think I need allies. I think we need allies. But some people don't have allies. So what they get is angry and like, remember, everybody was once a kid. What did you think you were gonna be versus what you turned out to be? And then some people are told, well, that's because and then they want to blame everybody. And then you get into this mindset, and before you know it, even if you don't have a heart attack, you done said something stupid or did something stupid in a world of cameras that you can't come back from. It's best just to love your family. If you got a dog, take them for an extra long walk, like I said. Like if you got a spouse or uh kids, like tell them stupid mom jokes or stupid dad jokes, is it right? Right? Like just like really appreciate that small bit. Because in that small bit, it'll begin to bleed out in the world, right? A lot of people don't like their family. I don't even know why. My family is fucking crazy. They're ridiculous. I love each and every one of them. All goofy, make no sense. Love all of them to pieces. Uh, and I don't understand how people get so disconnected. Oh, hey, Tanya, nice to see you in the chat. Um, so don't I mean, it's your weekend. Like I said, every weekend, I think a lot of people look at their weekends like, oh, I don't have to work for 2 days. That's the wrong way to look at it. That you should be plotting your weekend on your Thursdays because it's for you. Whether that's a small barbecue or I'm just gonna binge it, you know. And it shouldn't have to do with spending money. I hate to be the one to be anti-capitalist and say it. It should really be about people. It really should be about people. And your engagement shouldn't be about arguing. See the people you like the most, man. Person. I'm sorry, I always say man slang. See the people you like the most, to hang out with the most. But if it's negative, then own it when it breaks. But I'm assuming it's not negative. It shouldn't be shopping. It shouldn't be even if look. I used to say no football, but even if it's a football game, as long as you do more talking and talking shit and having fun and having that's it's valuable. But you want to primarily do that with members of your family, members of your primary clan, right? You want to make sure that when those kids get older, they're not, you know, problematic. They're happy in themselves and have good memories of you, right? This is what we want. These things are built on the weekends. Really good people, I think, can build them daily, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, right? But most of us, do it on the weekends. Take a hike, take a walk, make your kids and your spouse do something they don't want to do. So, like in a year and a half, they can laugh and complain about it at Thanksgiving dinner. You know, That's the way these things work out. I don't want to do this. Why you make me do? Then a year later, remember that time we did this? And God forbid, down the line in 20 and 30 years, when you're older and you're grayer, it'd be one of their favorite memories, right? I mean, these are the things you plot these things out on your weekends, right? Everything can't be Xboxes, and I love video games. We're the first generation of video gamers. I had Pong, and me and my brother were enthralled by it. It was magic, right? Then we got Donkey Kong. We had a Commodore 64. We had an Atari, right? Gaming has been around for a minute. Everybody thinks everything is new to them. I argue with my nephew. I'm like, dude, my generation gave you hip hop before you tell me what is cool. So just calm down, right? So, but that's the fun of it. Like, I love hip hop. Well, I love classic hip hop, and he loves hip hop now, and we go back and forth about it. And I see other families doing the same thing, right? Somebody likes rock music, whoever now, and someone else is going, rock music now is trash. Rock music was good when, so those interactions are important. Please go out and get some of those. Um, I'm gonna get some food in my belly. It's 10 p.m. here on the East Coast of these here United States. Uh, and I am broadcasting to you from the great state of Virginia. Yeah. That's gonna catch on. Virginians don't like it. I'm gonna try and start doing the Saturday shows as more music because I'm gotta tell you, I've been reading this thing on how to put chord progressions together, and also reading very simple how to make a song. And now I'm just full of myself. So I think tomorrow might be uh, just me working on my chord progressions, trying to get things to go together. Um, and talking to whoever in the chat wants to talk about music and what they love. But we won't be playing music because you can't play music. Everything is owned by everybody. But you can talk about like the song your mom used to sing to you, or the song you sing to your kids, or the song that you know first listened to when you got your heart broken when you were 15 or something. Good times. So we will be back here tomorrow, 6:30. See you in the next one. And the next one is tomorrow at 6:30. I just said that. Come on, guys. We're here every day, Monday through Saturday, 6:30. And Sundays, we're here at 7:30 a.m. And it counts as church. And if you don't believe in church, then it counts as whatever the hell you believe in. You should believe in something. Um, I don't know what you should believe in, but you should believe in something. Believing in nothing makes you extra unhappy and extra unpleasant to be around. So try and believe in something. And if someone believes in something that you don't believe in, try not to hate on them, but do, judge them quietly from afar. How's that? Right? It looks better this way. Judge them quietly from afar. Yeah, there you go. I got love for you, even though I don't know you personally. Please like and subscribe. Um, we're here every day. We're on a journey. Come walk with us. We follow a lot of the news stuff that they say to make sure that they're not lying to us. We read about interesting people because interesting people are fucking interesting. And we try to play the guitar and figure out our own personal lives on stream. It's that. So, but remember, you get one time to go around. You shouldn't spend so much of it hating this group or hating that group. You should try and spend a good chunk of it like being, well, not selfish, but being introspective and engaging with the people in your immediate sphere, right? Which is sort of selfish. And you will change some lives that way. I absolutely guarantee it. I absolutely guarantee it. Absolutely. Absolutely guarantee it. Especially yours. Like we said, this whole thing started out with me teaching myself guitar online. You can check out some of those early videos. Um, and I'm still doing that. Right? I had to take a slight break from that because I was going crazy. Now we were just talking about it. I'm about to slide back into it. But that's the way life works. You may lust pasta and eat it all day, but after 6 months, you're like, maybe I need something else. And then maybe after a year and a half of not pasta, you'll venture back into pasta, right? So that simple example is your art life. Maybe it'll be painting, maybe it'll be drawing, maybe it'll be writing, maybe it'll be poetry, maybe it'll be limericks, maybe it'll be jokes, right? But as long as you are interested in something, something makes you perk up and want to know more about it. And it doesn't have to be quantum physics or any of that stuff. It could be as simple as like reading joke books. I used to tell people that I knew who were miserable, buy joke books. So you can go buy joke book 10,000 stupid jokes. Yeah, I bet you'll laugh at least 500 of them. You know what I'm saying? And then keep the ones that you like. I used to love be a raconteur. I used to be an excellent raconteur. People who tell stories. I spelled that wrong, but there you go. Nope. Or a person who tells anecdotes in a skillful and amusing way.
Raconteur. Raconteur.
I used to love a good story. I used to have 1,000 stories. I used to go into this. Here's the thing, I did a lot of work in some of these places, right? And I made people want to come back and socialize and hang out because I'm that kind of personality. And then the people who own the building, God bless them, sold it out. Well, not sold it out, and made a lot of cash on it. And all the new people there were unpleasant, quite frankly, right? People who come to a major city and don't like people. What the fuck is that? And people come to a major city who are racist. Why are you moving to a place? I'm from New York. I could be saying this. Why are you moving to a place, New York City proper, with all these blacks and Spanish and Asians, right? All these Jews and Gentiles, people who are atheists, and why would you put you for money? So who's the worst, right? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me what people do. People go out of their way to be ridiculous. And I'm fully for you and your small little town being as racist as you fucking want to be. But when society, not society, but when what's the word I'm looking for? Not society. When the winds of change, I guess, come through, what are you going to do about it? Right? It's better to be honest and have to change in your small town. We were racist, now we have to do this. Fine. Then exist as a lie in a place like New York. You see what I'm saying? There's an issue I have with, look, if I move to Texas and everybody wears cowboy hats and shit kickers and rides horses, uh oh, all right, well, I'm gonna stand out because I've got a bomber jacket and a ball cap and a pair of Air Force Ones, right? People know what I am in their vicinity, I guess. Whereas that same scenario, I dress like everybody else as I say these horrible and evil things about them behind. It just makes you. I don't know. I just think that people should have a philosophy that they don't cross, right? And if you're so hard into this racist philosophy, why are you around all these liberals in this liberal city? See what I'm saying? It means that you're just another liar, grad. You know what I'm saying? There are too many people in this modern America who've been told that they're special and they should get the pony, and it's been going on for a while. And it didn't start in the '80s where they officially started giving everybody trophies, whether you win or lost. A lot of losers grew up here and got to be important because of racism and sexism. A lot of women could outthink a lot of these guys, right? And often do. So, I mean, meritocracy used to be a thing I was taught about America, but no one ever even mentions it anymore. Meritocracy is the idea that the best man gets the best person for the gig gets the gig. But all we ever do is protest and argue about racial unfairness and gender ridiculousness. So how great are we? And if we are great, then we other people must be great. I think I'm great. So maybe I should run for office. I think you're great. Maybe you should run. But then once we get there, what happens to us? Are we corrupted by the system? AOC, do we even want to look up her before? We were supposed to be leaving with this stream. You know what? We're going to hang on a little bit longer. All right. So AOC, and we've been talking about her for about 3 months now. AOC, that's what I mean. Like, we do these things for 3 and 4 hours. One day we're going to edit them all together. We're going to have an AOC chapter, and then it's going to be linear, and people are going to go, "Oh, those guys over there, they get it." So 2 weeks ago, she went to the Mets Gala, right? $35,000 a plate dinner. Okay, fine. But in order not to get any shade, she wore a dress that said "tax the rich" on it. Okay. Right. But that's not what you're doing. So, all right, fine. No mask, but okay, fine. Now, today, she votes present on the Iron Dome thing. We're funding Israel's ridiculousness, and we shouldn't be. And she should have voted against it. But I hear they might redistrict her. So now she's playing ball. Remember, the last time the Democrats had a problem, Congressman, that they redistricted out of control was who was the short guy? Was oh my god, my memory. Oh, what was his name? Dennis Kucinich, right? It was him, and essentially, this is the thing about senators. Senators never get redistricted. It was him, and it was Bernie Sanders, who were like really liberal-minded, holding people, and then they just redistrict them out of office. There you go. Dennis Kucinich? Or is it okay? Preceded by Mike Turner. They redistricted the 10th district and he lost? That's not right. Ohio Democrat, him divorced. Daughter Jackie. That's the whole name they have for her, Jackie. Yeah, all right. Political career, Cleveland mayor, post-mayoralty, House of Representatives, domestic policy, voting record, presidential campaigns, congressional campaigns, gubernatorial campaign, Cleveland mayor, television pundit, abortion, attempted impeachment of George Bush, attempted impeachment of Dick Cheney, Barack Obama, cannabis, civil liberties. He was on the right side of everything. They got rid of him. Redistricting after 2010 census eliminated Kucinich's district. The new map shifted the bulk of Kucinich's territory, including his home, to Toledo. Represented since 1983 by fellow Democrat Marty Kaptur. Is she still the senator? She still is. Lord. Kucinich has been endorsed by another House member, Bernie Frank of Mass, two competed in Democratic primary in March 6th. So she was trying to keep her seat, and he was trying to gain her seat after his seat was washed away. '16 term. That's 32 years. These fucking people, they make you so angry. Kucinich had been mentioned frequently as a possible 2012 candidate for Congress in Washington, newly created 10th district. But he decided to retire. Yeah. He was serious. He was a good politician, and they got rid of him because he was a good politician. Meanwhile, everyone else is getting rich and playing games. So yeah, let's look up AOC and her Iron Dome endorsement. Iron Dome. Alexandria Ocasio apologized for a vote on Iran. So no, really. So we've been online. She apologized an hour ago. You have to, what's the point of the apology? So let me get this straight. So now you pissed off the people who didn't want you to vote for this, and you give them a bullshit apology, but you also piss off the people you voted for by thinking that you're. Oh yeah, all right. I know enough about politics to know that that was a bad move. Yes, I wept. AOC explained why she cried over Iron Dome vote. You know what? She's beginning to play ball. She's not serious. Iron Dome vote left her crying, and it backfired. New York Times stealth edits report saying AOC faced powerful pro-Israel lobbyists, and that's the problem. Maybe you shouldn't have all these pro-Israel lobbyists in here. What? How are you not taking money from a foreign government to do what they want? Lobbying is bribery at home and treasonous when it's from outside. But you're not supposed to know this. And we keep fighting over the same shit like police reform. We got a lot of problems, and Israel is one of them. So yeah, she's full of shit. And I think this podcast tracked when she became full of shit. I actually might have to. What episode is this? This is episode 38. I might have to go back to like episode 32. I really start having to write this shit. I'm gonna start editing things and putting. Yeah, she cried. Oh boy. All right. The New York Post is a rag. We don't even want to hear what they have to say about it. View all. All right. Chicken and waffle. Weepy AOC says sorry to New York City District for Iron Dome vote. Chicken and waffle. So they're calling her a chicken and they're saying that she's waffling. That's the that's the that's the kind of press that I miss. Living here. It's chicken and just for the title, we're gonna read that. Chicken and waffle. Wow. Good job, New York Post. Oh, chicken and waffle. Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez apologized to her constituents Friday for her waffling present vote. Yeah, she voted present on the House bill vote that provided $1 billion in defense funding for Israeli Dome anti-missile protection program. Pay for it your fucking self. What are we doing? She also claims she became overcome with emotion during Thursday vote. Yes, I wept. All right, you're done. To those I have disappointed, I feel deep. Yeah, all right. Yeah, yeah. Critics of Israel handling of disputed territory, part by Palestinians. She noted that since 2011, the U.S. had delivered $1.7 billion for Iron Dome through 2028, and $1 billion approved Thursday is on top of that as well. She objected when House Democrats attempted to include the Iron Dome funding in a larger unrelated spending bill without prior committee debate earlier this week. These people are so full of crap. All right, we're gonna end this thing before I lose my. I'm just gonna go. I'm not gonna have coffee. It's too late for coffee. I don't even know what to say about this. You put these people in office to sort of make the way easier. Why are we giving all this money to Israel? Right? Meanwhile, Black in America here, there's a lot of stuff you could be doing to fix the history. And so why? And you left $1 trillion in Afghanistan over 20 years. Not just that, but all this ordnance. You essentially gave them guns and ammunition for like 15 years on your exit. neither one of these parties are serious anymore. And I don't know what the next step is. And she looks to be like, well, I don't want to go back to being a fucking bartender. Maybe I just play ball and stay here for 16 terms like that other lady, which is 32 years. My position is 3 terms as a senator, maybe 2 terms as a congressman. And the only office I think you should be able to hang out longer than anticipated is the presidency, right? Isn't that the highest office? That's the one that makes the most sense. And if you can't do it there, why can you do it every place else? You see what I'm saying? Am I crazy? I think I'm crazy. Am I crazy? I'm crazy? Just tell me I'm crazy. I think they weakened the chief executive so all these other people can be thieves, right? All right. We're gonna end this in we're gonna end this in 10 minutes. We absolutely are. We're gonna end this in 10 minutes. Turn that off. Thank you. We're gonna end this in 10 minutes. Why? Well, because it's your weekend and you should get some of it. And also, I gotta tell you, man, it's been a while since if we end this in 10 minutes. Yeah, we're gonna end this in 10 minutes. I was thinking about ending it in 19 minutes. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna end this in 10 minutes. And every time I say we're gonna end it in 10 minutes, it always lasts like 3 minutes. Because that's essentially my tell for me running out of things to say. Man, I don't even know what to tell you. I think a lot of American politics has always been corrupt, and they never really fixed it. They patch it but keep the corruption, right? So now instead of like the example I always give is instead of you not being able to drink from a water fountain, right? Instead of going, yeah, this is bullshit. Let's fix this. And while we're fixing injustice, why can't women? Why we put the ERA up, right? And while we do this, and they're never going to do that. So they tiny patch it just before the whole thing rips to shreds. They go, okay. And then they put a little band-aid on, then they slam the door on you again, and they go back to their ridiculous government party on government funds. And that's the way I view it, right? So there's been all these small examples of that, in my opinion. All these tiny examples of that, of not fixing the problem because the problem is worth a lot of money. It's lucrative to you. Let's close this. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! I gotta buy a gaming chair. I hate to say it. This chair is not good for gaming. It's good for drawing at a drawing board. You know what? We're gonna leave that there because we're gonna change anyway. So let's say our goodbyes. I'm here every night, 6:30 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and Sunday we're here at 7:30 a.m. So come on through, hang out with us, talk jazz with us, get in the chat, and converse with us. But what we don't do, we don't mess with like meanness and nonsense. We just ban you. Whatever you can say without being an asshole, essentially. You know what I'm saying? And that's essentially the primary rule. You can say whatever you want. Just you don't need to be an uncomfortable, mean-spirited, and unruly person in the chat. All right. We've been streaming for 3 hours and 45 minutes. 45 minutes. So I guess we are going to end this stream. I'm going to go and finish off watching some Netflix, which I'm now back into. I want to toast to your health and to your weekend. And I will see you in the next one. And the next one is tomorrow, 6:30. Please like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. It's super important. It helps out the chat. And who knows? Maybe in I don't even know where that was going. Who knows? Maybe in I was about to say 10 years. I was like, maybe in like 6 weeks or 6 months or something. You will have found that this channel is just the kind of interesting, weird quirkiness that you need in your life. All right. So again, like and subscribe. I'm Truist Armor, Karma Armor on Twitch, True Armor here on Haps, and I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. You got 48 hours to spend it on you making memories. It's not about forgetting work. It's about remembering the weekend. All right. See you next time. Peace out.